Man, this is great. I am so excited for Sammy T Mafia to be on in a couple of minutes. I uh I got some slides prepped that I think is going to lead to some great discussion, and I'm excited to get Sammy's take on it. Thank you guys for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Lexi, we will take it slow today. LOL. Hey, does anybody else ever catch themselves saying LOL? It's getting out of hand for me. What's up, Vegas Moxie? Australia, thank you. I appreciate that. Oregon. What's up, Annette? Scotland. What's up, Desia? Or Deja. I'm sorry. Samsy, what up? I caught a little bit of it. I was driving a lot today. But I've been seeing the stuff that people are sending me, and no, Chrissy, no one said that. I believe that there's just a lot bigger of stuff going on. What's up, Gamble? I have seen that dude sailing from Oregon to Hawaii. That's crazy. What's up, Squirrel's Nest? Yes, I believe that is confirmed that it's going to be streamed. There were some conditions when I tuned in. They were actually talking about the jury not having their faces shown, and then they were going to use scramble, like laminated pieces of paper that don't even coordinate with their original jury identity. What's up, Amy? Yeah, Kira, that's what I'm excited for with Sammy to kind of go over everything that happened. What's up, Jacqueline? Got another Scottish folk in here. Yeah, they are giving a lot of protection. I did, Shannon, yes. I actually believe that. I have that downloaded, actually. What's up, Candy? I don't disagree with the leak statement that's going to potentially lead to a mistrial for people leaking info. Melissa, well, thank you for being early. Like I said, everybody, I go on at 7 p.m. Central. Sometimes I hop on 5 or 10 minutes early just to get the chat up and running. Chantilly Lace with the RBF. And then if you say it out loud, it rhymes even better. It's an amazing nickname or username. Phoenix, what's Gucci, my Louie? Yeah, it was great. I will let her know, just peachy. Mrs. Birdie's a fan favorite. What's up, Sandra? I'm not sure how I can enable. Let me see if I can do that real quick. Moderators. Extended chat. Joins and likes. I'm trying to figure that out right now. I don't know how. Manage. You guys should be able to pin comments. I'm looking at all of them right now. I believe that all my mods. I believe that all my mods can pin them. From what I can see. What's up, Sammy T? Brooke, happy Thursday as well. I can't believe it's already Thursday. Yeah, it's on, Sharon. I don't know. I just looked. I think the if you were trying the other time, I don't know if you can do it when someone is requested. Oh, hey, Sammy, I didn't even see. Wait, hang on. Here we go. All right, I got you. What up, Sammy T Mafia?
Hi, guys.
How are you doing this evening?
Just absolutely what a court day I had. I had to go between the Karen Reed trial and then that prelim hearing. I was doing absolutely no work today that I should have been doing.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. What's up?
I was like,
Go
I
ahead.
was like, fuck, everybody stop bothering me. I need to do my actual loves.
Yeah, yeah. What's the latest in the Karen Reed trial today? I wasn't watching that today.
Well, it was Dr. Sporty Bello who was the medical examiner in the first one. And she still is holding to her guns and sticking that the manner of death, despite the fact that they plied her with all this information, giving her report after report of, did I hit him, of all the troopers ganging up on her and saying, they said that there was taillight found near the body and blah blah blah. She wouldn't budge, and she said it's undetermined. But the hypothermia, she did admit, could have been. They said it wasn't hypothermia, it was hypothermic signs. She also said things like he had a trace of omeprazole in his system, meaning he takes an antacid because he had past stomach ulcers. So one of the signs of hypothermia is that it shows like an ulceration in your stomach. That's one of the signs, but it would show it by over 50%, where John only had around 10% in his gut. So the possibility of that could have meant that it was actually his alcoholism essentially that was causing that already perforated stomach ulcers. That's why he was taking that medication too. So it might have had nothing to do with the hypothermic signs. Also, that he had a laceration above his eyeball, which the state was trying to say that his panda eyes were caused by a blow to the back of the head, because that sometimes can happen. Like if you have they call it panda eyes or raccoon eyes, but it doesn't cause cuts on your nose and it doesn't cause cuts on your eyes.
Yeah, I've seen some messed up stuff too of like what else could cause that. If you guys want to go down like a dark rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. Trust me.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. Well, we are over 10 minutes. Usually someone had told me that if you let the intro kind of go for 10 minutes before you really start getting into stuff, it's a little less wild as far as the
Censoring?
whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. I also heard too a trick that I said last night that I still did not do. I need to get to it. And that's that if I do a TikTok shop and just put 3 random products up there, that TikTok won't flag it. And I can just move them off screen. So maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how that works. So, all right, chat, let's get into it. Obviously, today was a big day for the Idaho 4 case. If you can't tell by the picture that I have created here at the bottom, it says cover up phase 4. And let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah. I wanted to start off by saying hello to any of the anti-Cobber people who have been disseminated information on either this platform or YouTube or Dateline. And I hope you guys hire some attorneys, because they're getting a special prosecutor and they're going to start asking some questions and subpoena power for who's disseminating all of this horseshit information when there's a gag order. And we've been saying it for how long, Bertie, that how are they getting this?
It's never made any sense to me. Steve. Yeah, that I'll tell you what. You want to talk about a plot twist? If that ends up happening where he's actually It's just saying, I don't give a shit, I'm going to do it. And then the Book of Justice just comes flying in from the top rope. Like,
so my opinion is the beginning is before the gag order was put in place. Like I said, I found that one private investigator that I believe Steve hired, that Jansen guy, and then he linked up with Jennifer Coffindaffer on Twitter. And that's when Jennifer Coffindaffer really started becoming a mouthpiece for AntiCo. She was a lot more reasonable in the beginning. And then she started sounding like she had inside source information. And I was like, that's strange. I wonder where she's getting this inside source information from. And I found this link of it happened on Vinnie Politan's show. This guy who's a PI, former law enforcement, last name Jansen, came on and said, I'm offering a $5,000 reward. This is right when the gag order started in place. And I was like, who put him up to this? And that's when I realized this was the week after Steve Consalves went on that interview that we covered on Fox News when he was like, why aren't they putting out a reward? Why aren't they looking at IGG?
Yep.
Why aren't they, right?
Yep.
So I think that's how he was getting out information. But now we're coming closer to trial. We've seen this, what I like to call the second wave of misinformation that's been coming out. And it's with these recent specials. It's with Steve palling around with these podcasters like Banfield and Drunk Turkey Show. And I go, and there's all this new information popping up on each one of these podcasts that's making news every time.
Yep.
And I don't see it any other way than it's trying to sway and poison a potential jury.
Well, and so that's a good segue into the slide, but talking about just swaying a jury, in addition to the Dateline reference in some of the documents that dropped today, or yesterday, I don't remember if it was today or the 14th, but they're also, I've seen stuff floating around from people on X about how the YouTube algorithms in Moscow, Pullman, and surrounding areas are messing with the algorithm to show people only guilt narrative on Kohberger, which is just a wild thing. So,
I'm not surprised though, because if the feds are involved, which obviously they are, I mean, they're going to work extra hard to make their case in the public before any of this falls apart.
Yep. And so you had said I think you just said that we're in wave 2 of the kind of the narrative or the
right.
Yep. I'm calling it phase 4 of the cover-up cycle. So
that's true.
Yeah. So when I was putting this together, I went and I thought through. I'm like, all right, phase 1, the event happens. It's brutal. It's theatric. It's high emotion. Phase 2, I would argue, is probably wave 1 of what you were referencing, meaning like narrative lockdown, fast arrest, national attention, tons of suppression of dissent. And then prior to what I would say like the texts being released, we were in a silence phase. The gag orders, the sealed records, like nothing to see here, like look over there, not here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we are in phase 4, which is what I'm calling the controlled leak phase, where we have quote unquote alternative suspects, which causes doubts and confusion that's sown to protect the real op. I put this in bold and put it in all caps because I'm like, you don't just suddenly discover other suspects after a year of airtight prosecution unless your house of cards is falling. So
100%. And I believe that I don't think people realize what a big deal this is, because one of the first things Judge Hippler did when he took over this case was say something about this gag order and made it very clear, because I went back to watch it today, because I know he discussed one of the first things when he took over this trial was, I expect this gag order to be applied both sides, no leaks, nothing. He didn't want any of the hoopla, and he was very adamant about this. He is pissed. They had a closed session hearing before they had the open session. So something went down because they were late for court, by the way. So I was like, where are they? And so they were late. And that closed session must have been something fierce, because the look in his eyes was like, I'm not fucking around. And he looked right at the state, and Bill Thompson was adjusting very strangely. And I go, uh-oh. And so if you want to, if you want to hire us, if you want to get a special prosecutor for this, and we could do whatever, but we're going to be seeking subpoena power. We're going to be getting some answers on this. And then he just kind of gave a throwaway comment, and same goes for the defense, basically meaning, I know it's not you who's leaking.
Right. I mean, I would argue that the judge's entire discernment was noticeably different.
Noticeably.
Yeah.
He was no fucking around today. Like, I go, something happened in that closed door hearing that made him irritable towards the state today.
Yeah. And so what I believe really is the official phase 4 is they're losing grip on the clean narrative. The defense is poking holes and the public's waking up. And let's just go back to, I put this, here, I'll make this a little smaller so you guys can see the caption that I put.
And by the way, one of the biggest leaks, and I just want to say this really quick, is the 911 call. Who is getting what? It came from a podcast. Some YouTube podcast is getting a leaked under government seal 911 call after all this time.
Yeah,
I mean, that's wild.
It's illegal. That's what it is.
Oh, it's illegal. It's 100% illegal. It's a violation of a court order.
Yes. And I thought it was interesting, Sammy, that, or not even interesting. I'll say this. I think it was just fitting that you came on here and you're like, I just want to kind of give a shout out to the people that were saying, you know, pretty much what this meme is that I put, where it's like, there's so much evidence. It's so obvious he did it. Well, really? Because again, now they went from touch DNA. I should have wrote the mitochondrial DNA on a sheet.
Yeah, trace DNA.
Yeah, no weapon, no eyewitness ID, no video of him entering or leaving, weird digital gaps in his data with his GPS and his phone. So, going along with the idea of phase 4 is now they're going to leak the idea of other suspects to provide plausible deniability if the case collapses. That way they can say, well, look, we considered all suspects. We didn't railroad anyone. That's a literal prosecution, like a prosecutorial, I can't even say it when I try to say it quick.
Okay.
But it's pretty much a backdoor exit ramp for the prosecution in the state. That's what it is.
Yeah. And the fact that they were like talking about, we're going to display a knife.
Yeah,
like, and people are so dumb. They're like, they might have got the knife. No, you fools. They just want to show the jury what a K-bar knife looks like.
Which, yeah.
I can't even believe people pick up on this, and that's what they get from this. I go, if they found the weapon, there would, it's just unbelievable how stupid people are.
Yeah. And I mean, on top of that too, let's just go through from the beginning, because that's kind of the theme. And Sammy, you and I were texting before this, that has kind of been the theme of the stream the last 2 or 3 nights, has been now knowing what we know and seeing what's transpiring. Let's go back. Let's watch the original local news broadcast. Let's watch people that went out and put themselves out there and made statements to, you know, clear themselves and really.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, just these are like the big 4. All right. Obviously we got the roommate who saw the killer and did nothing. Right. So either DM knew more than she said, or she was placed under pressure or protection. Some indicators suggest that she may be connected to someone being protected, either informant level or witness level.
And I think that they've also forced her to change or add things over time based on things that aren't working out in their narrative, like whether it be the environment of what was happening at the time, or possible other witnesses seeing other things, or things caught on camera. I think that they've had her change it over time. That's why we're getting the whole, oh, I saw her on the floor at 4:30.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there, I could have swore there was even something about her going to grab a kitchen knife.
It was Hunter that went back into the house.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, by the way, again, and I said this in one of my videos, the tight line is as tight as you can get. It's tight. It's a fucking pair of early 2000s jeans where you're like an inch away from your butt crack bending down at a locker and your vagina falling out. I'm not fucking kidding, all right? It's Britney Spears level slave for you tight ass fucking timeline. And let me say something. When they add this vacuum handheld device, and all of a sudden the cleanup area is not just, oh, we just wiped up a shoe print, or maybe the shoe print got wiped up, and we find out it's a bit more extensive because now they have to make up for the fact that there is a cleanup there. So how are we going to explain this? Oh, now we're just going to say that now this suspect who quadruply homicided people like Kill Bill, and he's Uma Thurman with all the fucking, ninja crap in the yellow suit, and now we're going to have to add a cleanup into this. Okay, where's that happening and factoring in on the timeline? Like, where is that factoring in on the timeline?
It doesn't really, or like,
right.
Or it's just like it's gone, it's out there. Like, just we're gonna pretend it doesn't exist, so it can't be a part of it. Is really what ended up happening in the long run right now. Prior to right now, I should say.
Right.
Then obviously we got the cell tower and the GPS pings. They don't prove entry or unaliving, right? There's no GPS or direct location evidence placing him inside of that house. Again, there's no murder weapon. There's no blood evidence. There's no footprints. There's no hair fibers. There's no clothing. There's no wounds on Kohberger. That's why I believe that this gag order was over unaliving in a court sense. We all know on January 3rd of 2023, Judge Megan Marshall issued a sweeping gag order that barred attorneys, law enforcement, and witnesses from speaking publicly. That's exactly how you treat a compromised sting, somebody in an informant network, or when a suspect is not who the narrative says that it is.
Plus, I believe when the families started speaking out separately on television and their statements weren't jiving, like you had Ethan's family, you had Xana's mother, you had Kaylee's family, and you had a little bit of Maddie's family, and all four of them sounded very different about the events that transpired, the time, the events, and they're looking at each other sideways like, make this line up, make this look right, especially with the Goncalveses. But Ethan's family was a little bit more freewheeling. And like I said, mentioned that 2 to 3 is a very dark hour for our family. Okay. Kaylee's or Xana's mother was openly hostile to the investigation and saying, some kids have to know something. This didn't just happen in a vacuum, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a reason why this got put on, this case. And I think it's because if these families kept doing what they were doing, people were going to start noticing, this doesn't match this person. Why is this family saying this and that family saying that?
I totally agree. Just to get through the rest of this slide, then, Sammy, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. We already know that they had to use a third-party genetic database. So the FBI, according to the Dateline documentary, it's not a law. It's just a guideline. It's a guideline. And that's to not obtain the DNA using a public database without a warrant. So what's so interesting, and I will say, like, one of the only things out of the Dateline documentary or the episode that you could take away from it was like a 10-second clip of this one woman. And she's like, well, if they had to break their own guidelines because they couldn't get a warrant, let's think about why couldn't they get a warrant? Well, they don't have probable cause. And why don't they have probable cause? Because they don't have enough evidence to go and get it.
And the worst part is that the probable cause they did have, you might as well just wipe your ass with that PCA because none of it turned out to be true. None of it.
I agree. So, okay. Now this one we can skim through, but I went pretty hard on this as far as, like, I looked at 4chan, I looked at TikTok, and I looked at Facebook, and I tried to find things that were archived that it's not like the kind of like the mainstream ones that floated around. This one is, but I did find some things that some other posters said. But for people that don't know, there was a poster using the tag IA Watcher that claimed to have seen the scene before it went public. He described blood leaking from the back wall on the floor. The two were unalived, 2 unalived upstairs, 2 downstairs. Claimed that the unaliver entered through a side door near the kitchen, not the sliding door the cops originally focused on. Weeks later, The official info confirmed this detail about entry and blood location. IA Watcher was banned, and those posts were down within 24 hours, which I just find so interesting. On an anonymous forum, they'll ban you and wipe it in less than a day.
They've archived a lot. I was one of the I was on 4chan like originally. Most of the stuff there that I had or saw was wiped. Even Reddit posts are archived and wiped.
Yep. So there were some other posters that said DM had a thing with one of the suspects, was told to keep quiet. Another quote was Kaylee was threatening to go public with something. Roke ops or a frat thing.
One of the commenters, by the way, they said London's Notebook is now covering the Diddy case. One of our favorite content creators who I watched one of her videos, unfortunately, the other day, and I just want her to stop what she's doing and let me give her a makeup tutorial.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Sammy.
So badly. I just want to be like, oh my God, why are you like ransacking the Wet n Wild aisle and letting like a 5-year-old do your makeup? What is happening? All right, keep going.
Yeah. So, and I just got a stupid freaking thing for the vape. Damn it. I'm mad at myself for that. Hopefully it goes away. I don't know if that means that it doesn't suggest it or if it's just under 18, but yeah.
I got that once before. It stinks. Yeah. I hated when I caught myself doing that. I was like, no, I got the vape warning.
Yeah. So it'll go away after 10 minutes. Okay. All right. Then the other one was that the guy that they arrested isn't who they think he is. This is a setup. And so one of the things that I just want to point out about that, and to Sammy's point and other people in the chat, what they mentioned as we were talking about that a couple seconds ago, was they've archived a lot of stuff. But I think the more important thing is that these weren't necessarily troll posts. Like, there's a lot of specifics, timestamping, early accuracy of crime scene details. It does suggest someone with inside knowledge. There's a post, I didn't put it on here, but there's a post that somebody was saying, they posted a picture and it said, like, this is the first step or the first phase. And then they posted like another picture and it was just coordinates. It was near the crime scene. And they posted that on the 20th of November. And it was like just like a partial shot of one of the girls, which looked like to be in the house. I don't know. That could be trolling.
I don't know.
On there, but I don't know if anybody saw that. All right. Then on TikTok, we know about like the TikTok comment. These were just some ones that I didn't know if anybody's heard of, so I thought it was interesting because all of these videos were up for less than 48 hours. They were flagged for misinformation, and then the accounts were deleted after it got national attention.
I remember that.
Yep. So now deleted TikTok by someone claiming to be a friend of Xana's, said, she told me someone was following her. I thought it was an ex, but I don't know. Another said that Kaylee was paranoid the week before the unaliving. She kept checking the locks, said people were watching her. So nothing crazy groundbreaking, but I did think it was interesting that they weren't just taken down, like the accounts got deleted.
I mean, look at what they did to that psychic who said, oh, I think it's this professor. Oh, yeah. I mean, they full went on a lawsuit and rampage against that woman.
How do you try to sue a psychic? That's what I want to know. What's your argument?
I thought that was very strange. Like defamation, slander, I understand all of that. So if your reputation is really harmed but if she didn't lose her job, meaning she didn't lose anything monetarily, I guess damaging to your reputation, but it's a fucking psychic on TikTok.
Right.
Is very strange to me. Like, who cares? No, like more than I want to say 70% of people don't even believe in psychics. So why is this? I thought the whole thing about going after that woman was just bizarre. I was like, this is a little extreme. Does nobody think this is extreme? I mean, we had Miss Cleo for how many years? You're around my age on infomercials with her accent and, grifting the fuck out of people.
Yep.
We've had people on talk shows, on Sally Jesse Raphael or fucking Ricky Lake or Maury saying, oh, your daughter's dead. And then she turns up 10 years later. So,
That's
I mean, who
crazy.
cares? It is wild that the person got sued.
Yeah. I mean, what it like, yeah, like if I just came on here and was like, dude, I had the wildest dream. And I like say,
I
like,
did
who
that.
I know, but that's what I mean is like, how is a psychic being any, whatever. All right. So then on Facebook, I only really found one, and it was just early screenshots that show friends and family hinting that something wasn't right about the surviving roommate's behavior. There was a post that was quickly deleted, and I thought it was interesting that even in the archive, this name was redacted. So it said, not buying it, redacted, said the cops showed up for something else earlier that day and then found the bodies, which obviously would mean possible law enforcement encounter before 911 was officially placed. That would destroy the timeline.
Which would, of course, make sense when you heard the quickness in which the police arrived with no fanfare, no sirens, police radio in the background. Oh, they're here.
It's...
Okay.
I look back at this, and it's like...
Okay.
Sometimes... you want to know what actually my biggest question is? And then the next slide is actually breaking down some of the interviews. But I want to just finish off kind of this intro segment. And that's... It's so interesting to me how many people want to share their true opinion or like their truth and how they feel about the case. But they start the video with, I'm not saying I think he's innocent. I'm not. And it's almost like you're just like beating around the bush. Like, just say it. There's so many people, but it's like, what are you afraid of? Like,
well, the worst part about that, Birdie, to me is he is innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
So why are you even, we shouldn't have. That's the whole issue, especially when you just saying that. He is innocent. Everybody is innocent until the case is proven. So the people who have any sort of, oh, it's not in polite society to say that he's innocent. Yeah, actually, he is innocent. He's just sitting in a jail cell accused of something. That's it.
That's it. I got to let my dog out. So continue.
Okay. What kind of dog? What kind of dog does Birdie have, guys? Aw, Birdie's married. I like his chair. Look at that sweet ass chair. Birdie, I like your I said, "Oh, Birdie, you're married. I love that." And I also said I like your chair. It's a sweet chair.
Appreciate that.
It's a pretty sick podcasting chair. People should care more about their podcasting chair now that I saw that.
Do you know that this thing, it reclines? So it can recline and...
Shut up.
It's got a footrest that I can pull out. And... look at that.
Oh my gosh. That's like really... It reminds me of, remember that show on MTV, Pimp My Ride?
Yes. I got a Pimp My Ride chair.
You have a Pimp My Ride podcasting chair. Like if Exhibit showed up at your house and was like, yo man, Birdie, we're going to give you the sickest podcasting chair. It's going to blow bubbles out the bottom and fucking pour you shots of Patron. Fucking relax, recline.
Hey, I would take it. I would do it. Yeah, shots of Birdie Bobs. That's right. All right. So I want to give a shout out to everybody that did email me. I believe it was Stephanie, and then if it was Amanda or Amy, I forget, but you guys sent me some good shit. So sending me the email at birdiebombshell00@gmail is so much easier. And so last night we were watching the like the 4-part statement that Joe from the food truck put out, which was just like, it was a statement on bath salts, Sammy. Not saying he was, but that's like, it was the most word salad shit I've ever heard.
And like, we're going to go over his initial video, correct?
Yeah, we can go over that. And I also, so it's also, I have Inan's Q&A as well. So
yeah, let's do it.
From the food truck, potentially. And then I got a wild video. Has anybody seen this?
Yeah.
I think it's his voice.
I know. I've listened to it like 100 times, and I put it in this app where you slow it down and stuff like that and speed it up. And I'm telling you, and I've had my fiance go, listen to this, and I go, listen it over. We listen to it over and over, and I was like, there's no way that's not his voice.
Okay, let's start with this one because it'll be quicker than the full statements from the other people.
Okay.
So, right, this is allegedly Brian Cobber at a frat party the night of November 13th of 2022. They believe that he was escorted to the hospital, and is this why the MPD have secured the booking? Right, that's what the caption says up here. If you guys can't read that. But really, what you're going to notice is there's somebody who is like sitting in the car, and then there's another person that's either in the other seat, but you'll hear this cop talk, and you're going to hear like a louder voice, but in the background, you're going to hear the two statements, I am, I know. I swear to God, it sounds like Brian Koberger's voice.
Hold on. Somebody in the comments just said, that's been debunked. The guy is married. Oh, now she said, never mind. My bad. Wrong video. Okay. Continue.
Alrighty. I will continue.
So much fun. So there's a lot going on right now.
Are you in?
I am.
Okay. Were you in my program last week?
Officer Willis.
Yep. What did I tell you in that program?
I know.
It's very faint. It's very faint. You're good, Kara. Don't worry about it.
Wouldn't it make sense that he's in a program and he's, you know, an adjunct professor and he's interested in law enforcement and being a part of it? Wouldn't it make sense that he was doing things to kind of add to his resume?
Yeah, you would think. You would think. And so I'm going to and if he didn't get the internship, maybe they're like, hey, you're not ready for the internship, but we got some programs you can sign up for, you know, get yourself kind of ramped up. But maybe, I don't know. So I'm going to play that again.
And unfortunately, a lot of like law enforcement jobs go to nepotism hires, just to be honest.
Jesus. All right.
So much fun. So there's a lot going on right now.
Are you in?
I am.
Okay. Were you in my program last week?
Officer Willis.
Yep. What did I tell you in that program?
I know.
The other thing that I noticed is the cop's tone is like almost maybe he's aware of Brian Koberger, and the way that he's talking to him is like not just like he knows him. Like the tone is almost
said, what
like,
did I tell you?
Yeah.
Well, so let's break this down. What did I tell you? You were in my program last week? Yeah. What did I tell you? So that means there's a recognition of familiarity. Two, there's some sort of exchange that happened prior that has some sort of significance to his presence now and coming into contact with him. What was he doing and why were the police called there? The police were called there for a specific reason, obviously, and it can't be a great one because otherwise the police wouldn't be on site.
What, they got someone in cuffs?
What did I... Right, so what did I tell you? There has to be...
I would guess it's probably like, don't go out and fuck around kind of thing.
And my thought is if that he was in a program and he has a prior drug history, that might be hindering his chances of getting hired because I know that's a big part of being into. So stay away from certain crowds, stay away from certain functions, certain people. And if you want to prove to us that this drug history is no longer relevant in your life, we don't want to see you with certain groups of people. And now all of a sudden he's pulling up to this party. People are in cuffs, whatever's going down. And he sees the person. Were you in my program? Now, maybe he didn't get the job he wanted or the internship he wanted. He's in this program, and he says, listen, you really work hard. You prove that you're staying out of trouble, that you're not involved in certain groups of people. Then we'll give you a chance. And now he's rolling up to this place, and he said, what did I tell you?
Well, I could totally see, like, depending on how many people are in that class, it's like, look, if you guys are in this program, we should never catch you out at a party. You should never be breaking the law, or you should never be around underagers. It could line up with so many things. That's pretty much like what you said, Sammy. Stay out of trouble. And it could,
Right.
you know what I mean? So let's listen to this one more time, and then I'm going to go to a couple of the videos, and then we'll break down the longer Joe video and the Anon video.
Now, if it's not him, devil's advocate, if there's a program, like, for example, when I was 18, I got busted for DUI, but I was like, only, it was like 0.08, but I was only 19, so, or 18 or 19, I forgot how old I was. But I got it reduced down to just like a no tolerance policy thing, and it was fine. But I had to do like a 7 or 8 week something program pre my court date to look good. And so and it was through law enforcement, like some sort of drug and alcohol something.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, like, if maybe if it's not Brian, it could be somebody like, what did I tell you in my program? Meaning, like, you're trying to do good now. You got a second chance. Maybe this cop's running because they make extra money if they do stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they're running certain programs, and maybe they're trying to get a promotion in their own job. So they're the officers who do the DARE program, or they're the officers who go talk to kids at schools or whatever. So I'm just saying devil's advocate here.
Yep. Let's just do it one more time.
So there's a lot going on right now.
Are you in? I am. Okay. Were you in my program last week?
Officer Willis.
Yep. What did I tell you in that program?
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Okay, I want what's the date on that? Like, when did that happen? Can you check for me?
it said that this was the night it was November 13th of 2022.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the night that this all happened. Or maybe it was
Now-
11/12 technically if it's
So
not
that's-
past midnight.
That's an interesting program. You were in my program. I wonder.
And it's not a long name program because the bleat is not long. You know what I mean? Like it could have been like an acronym that he just quickly
Right.
said. So here, like it's like a second.
So there's a lot going on right now.
Are you in? I am. Okay. Were you in my program last week?
Officer Willis.
Yep. What did I tell you?
Hang on. You know what I'm going to do, Sammy? I'm going to go look up. So what would a week before?
Officer Willis, you know what? Wait. You keep going on your live and talking. I'm Googling Officer Willis. Is this in Washington or Pullman? I forgot. Or I'm sorry, Pullman or Moscow.
I don't know if it says.
I can't. Your screen keeps freezing.
Sorry. It says Moscow.
Moscow?
Yep.
Somebody says Pullman. Pullman.
Oh, well, he just got. I guess I was just going off a hashtag of Moscow. So, yeah.
Oh,
then I
well,
see Moscow
guys,
prep.
what is it? Is it Moscow or Pullman? I'm getting two different fucking things here.
Okay, let's just do. You look up Pullman. I'll look up Moscow.
I'll do both. Well, I'm going to go research, but I got to get off this so I can go research. So you keep going with the chat.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, I'll be right back.
Chat. While Sammy does that, I'm gonna Google police department programs Pullman November 2022. And I wonder if anything pops up.
All right, I got something for you.
All right, what do you got?
All right. His name is Officer Garrett Willis. He's Pullman Police Department.
You cut out, Sammy. Damn, I I don't.
He offers about how to. I want to. Like, can I? Let me send this to you in. Should I send this to you in email?
Yeah, the Birdie Bomb
All right.
000.
Okay.
Let's see. November of 2022. All right, let's just see, because how wild would it be if it said that? Lateral applicants. No. Schools? This is interesting. The College Hill Beat, the neighborhood rescue officer. Because I'm trying, you guys know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find like what program would be going on at that time.
Okay, I got the program. I got everything. I sent it to you in the email.
Okay, look at that. You rock. Let me just do this quick. And so what are we about to be looking at here?
We're looking at 3 pictures sent you. It's from Pullman. It's the officer. It's the programs he runs in the college, and the safety programs and other things. He got Officer of the Year in 2021.
Did you send it to Birdie Bombshell 00? There's no S. It's just Birdie Bombshell 00.
I copied and pasted the one that you gave me into my.
Okay. Because I don't have it yet.
How can I send it?
I don't have it in the. Yeah, I don't have it. Oh. No. That's from somebody else. Wait, hang on.
Okay, did it work? Says I sent.
Thank you. Yep, I got it. And thank you, Coco. If you're in here, I just got that. I will be playing that next. All right, let me do this screen. All right. So he was named Police Officer of the Year in 2020. Officer of the Year in 2021. It says the Pullman Police Department has named Officer Garrett Willis as the PD's 2021 Officer of the Year. According to the Pullman PD, Officer Willis enthusiastically volunteered to take on the special role of College Hill Officer. That's what I just said, where he conducts regular nighttime foot patrols, provides public safety presentations, proactively explores new and better ways to build connections with WSU Pullman students. I bet he called it like the CHB or whatever it is, because I think it was a College Hill.
So
beat.
I think it was probably like a nighttime watch sort of program.
Yeah, I think.
And a campus safety thing.
It's still on their website. Look at.
Yeah, I sent you. Slide 3 describes it more.
Slide 3. Okay. So, behind the scenes, Officer Willis recognized the need for improved traumatic first aid readiness within the department. He took the initiative to propose and prepare patrol vehicle go bags containing medical and tactical equipment. Willis used his tactical first aid skills and experience to train his fellow officers in proper use of tourniquets, chest seals, and wound packing, skills that have already been put to use in life-saving events. Officer Willis has directly contributed to the success, competence, and reputation of the Pullman Police Department. We are proud to have him on our team. Set a social media post from the Pullman PD. Interesting. And here, I'll move.
So I also think too, wouldn't that make sense too?
If that's what Koberger was he a part
sorry,
of this
I gotta.
So okay, let's play this out, Sammy. Why was Brian Koberger around
And also
their
Brett
house?
Kopacka.
Yes. Why was he around their house 23 times? Well, if he's a part of this beat, this foot patrol, could that be what he's doing? He's inserting himself. It's like, hey, yeah, you're a part of this program. You didn't get the internship to be full on a part of it. But what we have is this program that will allow you to get out and about and you can be around it. And if you notice stuff, I know it's Moscow, but what I'm saying is like, it's who's to say that it's not some joint thing with the police departments? They say they work together a lot on the campus and other areas of the community too.
Also, that means they're not paying them. They're volunteers. So it's not like they're on the payroll, these kids. Who knows what sort of tactics that this program encompasses? Or what if it was a way to have off the book sort of your own little squad doing some extracurricular police work for you without actually booking it into time and payment and money?
It's like an unpaid internship.
Right, which is what I'm saying. And then if it's not on the books, that means whatever you have them do or train them or teach them, it's not on the books.
Look at this, too, at the bottom of what it says. It says, officers who have completed their initial probationary period may apply for temporary special assignments and collateral duties as openings arise.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
You got an extra set of eyes for the Pullman Police to essentially be little eyes and ears.
I think it's more common than what we probably expect. I mean, I know where I went to college, there was people that they got caught and they flipped and they would go to the, it happens.
Totally. It's not uncommon. I don't think this is like a rare thing, but I'm saying these sorts of things, think about how something that seems positive can go into some darker areas really quick if it's sort of like black ops.
Well, that's kind of the theme of this entire damn situation, in my opinion, is like you can have multiple things going on.
Right. So what if you have this nighttime watch that's training you supposedly in safety tactics and neighborhood watch and whatever, but you're interested in being law enforcement. You don't get accepted to this internship. So now you're in this program, right, that the officer of the year, the year prior, is holding. So you're in this program. And what if the program kind of skirts around being beyond what it says it is? Just like a lot of these off the book sort of things that our own government does that we're finding out through things like USAID, right?
I totally agree. And I would even take it as far as like, let's say there is some top secret classified sting operation to figure out who's getting this, the narco or the human trafficking aspect to the Greek life or whoever, just in general, that area.
Right.
Like, who's to say that they're not like, again, they're not going to tell everybody in the police department. It's going to be so compartmentalized. Like, who's to say that wasn't the start of Koberger being the fall guy? And he doesn't know because they need it to look legit, and he's going to get completely caught off guard. I don't know. That's like I don't even know if that's a stretch. And also but just
to think too, like if there's a trafficking problem in the area, let's say, and they're having a hard time flipping people or they can't get who they want. Well, wouldn't it be such a brilliant idea to have this? Let's pretend we're training these people for safety and this and that. But what we're really doing is we're training them to notice things that we want them to notice and report back to us. Because then, without them even realizing, their eyes and ears on stuff that's going on that they're not telling them the purpose of it, but they're giving them, the police, information that they need, that they can't get themselves because they're officers. They can't go spy on or go into or without warrants or do this. But you know who can? Regular citizens who are just probably unassumingly going to these things and thinking they're helping local law enforcement for a different reason. They think they're just doing something and they're helping their community and they're doing something that is helping their own careers, and they don't even realize it's a whole separate thing. But this is just their way of working around the system.
Yeah. Chat, I am curious. Has anybody in the chat ever made a citizen's arrest? Is that a real thing?
Interesting. I've never seen it.
Or is that just like...
Well, I don't know if I've ever seen it, but I have seen like one time I was in a Rite Aid in the city, like I work in the city. It was being robbed, and the person jumped over the counter and like punched out this like woman cashier, and then a bunch of people, when he was trying to run out, grabbed him. So like I don't know if that's like a citizen's arrest, and when they just held him until the police got there.
Yeah, there's a...
I guess that would be like a citizen's arrest.
Yeah, I would probably guess. I was going to say, like, Mrs. Birdie said that she's going to make a citizen's arrest on me if I don't stop over-serving myself some nights. And she's like, we're about to get out of here. You are done. You're cut off. So that's about probably as close to anything that I've actually ran into. I was just curious if that was as common as people think, or as I thought it was. All right. Now, this was just emailed to me coincidentally at the same time, or whoever is watching it. Coco, thank you. I'm going to play this. I have not watched this, so hopefully it's not going to get me flagged. Oh, and this is Officer Willis, by the way. Oh, you guys can't even see it. I'm sorry.
Out on our balcony at the chapter house.
Yeah.
Saw him hit a tree.
You mind showing me the tree?
Yeah, no.
That'd be money, man.
His tire hit.
Oh, yeah. Hey, back up for me. Yeah, part of his grill's here. Yeah, let me see if I can get some good photos of this. Adrian, you got a good light on that bad boy?
Oh, look at that. He's already got it covered.
Yeah, he's useful. He's very useful. You're driving with your brights on. And
I am.
And they're very bright.
They are? Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's why I'm pulling you over.
Okay, I'll fix that.
Don't plan to write you a ticket. I do have to document the stop. Do you have your license, registration, and insurance handy?
Yeah, definitely. Found it.
All right.
It looks a little dusty. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It got a little dusty in my thing.
It's okay.
But...
So I'll take this for now.
Okay.
The ID card is supposed to have the vehicles insured listed on there as well.
Okay,
to include VIN.
Oh, I gotcha. Because my car got totaled.
There's nothing worse than getting this lecture from the cops.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But it does show you're insured. It is valid, so I'm not gonna like split hairs.
I got totaled in June, so I was like, oh, sorry.
That's horrible.
He seems like he's
nice.
No, I mean, now again, it's on camera. Who knows if this is for a documentary or what?
I can't. By the way, when people like the few times I have been pulled over, I'm such a like not great person of keeping things in one area. So when they're like license registration, I'm like, oh great, because I'm like, what pile of shit am I digging this out of in my car right now? I mean,
the dumbest ticket that I've ever gotten. This is a true story. We have a Culver's. It's like a burger shop or a fast food place in the Midwest area, and they have these numbers. They used to. Now they use stickers they put on your mirror, but they used to have these like plastic numbers. And at my high school I went to, like, if you got Culver's and like you got your football number, you would like put it on the dash of your car. I got pulled over for going 7 over in the rain. 7. Okay.
Oh my God.
And then I was threatened with theft from Culver's for that number.
Wow.
I got a ticket for almost all of it except for the theft. That was the only thing. I just couldn't believe it.
That's
It was
wild.
32 and a 25, which whatever. It was raining. It was too fast for conditions is the ticket that I got, and I'm still salty about it. So
I was so bad when I was in high school. I used to like cheer when it would snow like a lot, and I'd be like, yes, perfect. So if I slip when I'm drunk driving, I can blame it on the snow.
Yeah.
I was such a maniac when I was young.
That's hilarious.
It's not. It's really dangerous. I drove up a purple Escort 97. I graduated in 2004, so I had a purple 97 Escort. I think I paid like $2,000 for it or something. I fucking called it Grimace, and I just decked it out in like grimaces. And I used to, when I was wasted, I would used to go, I call it, I go, come on, load up, girls. It's time to go hitting. And we go and I just knock over people's garbage cans with my car when we were drunk.
Oh my God.
If it was garbage day, and I go in the neighborhood and plow through people's garbage cans and knock it over, and we would think it was the funniest thing on earth. I was a horrible teenager. Horrible.
I was going to say, I've never done anything close to that. We had a giant hill in town, and me and three of my buddies, we would roll pumpkins down the hill around Halloween time at the cars coming up the hill. Which is terrible. That's extremely dangerous. And that's all alleged. I don't know if I actually was even there. Not that they would. I don't know if I'm past the time frame that it could get me for that. But anyways.
Well, let me tell you, that was my past. Oh God, my kid is such a good kid. I'm so shocked. Like every time I'm like, you make all the right decisions. I'm so blessed. My mom was so for sure when I had a girl, she's like, just you wait, because I was hell on wheels. And my child is like saintly, and I'm so lucky. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I would have no idea how to deal with me when I was like, 15 to 20 something. Ooh, but mostly like 15 to 19. Yeah. I'd say.
Those are wild years. This is a video of the Fight Club that does not exist.
Yo, he's gonna fucking laugh. On the ground.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I would expect that. Like that's not. I don't think that's. I mean, it exists. It's more so. Like they got boxing gloves on.
It seems like a cultural thing. We didn't do this, but I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it. It just seems. Also, I will say this much: we didn't have cell phones during this time of my life. It wasn't really a thing. Like high school, I didn't get a phone till I was a senior. It didn't take videos or pictures. I didn't even know that we could text till I was in college, like because it cost so much money. So I really think that kids now with phones and cameras, this is where fight clubs and stuff like that becomes more popular, because you could stream it, because it's a form of entertainment, and because you put it on your social media. If I had social media back in the day, I think my parents would have 5150 me or something.
Jesus. So, all right, let's get into.
I had a beeper too. Beeper says, somebody said I had a bedazzled pink beeper.
That's funny.
So true.
I'm not gonna show that again just because I don't want to get it flagged for like whatever showing
or
whatever it is. But I do want to. You guys could probably Google that one's like public. That one's on TikTok. Okay, I have not watched this. So, chat, last night we dove into Joe, the bigger dude from the food truck. Now we are going to dive into Inan, who people are suspecting is the guy in the robe that you guys see walk up with. I believe Mike Wimmer last night said that his girl was also in the robe. So, I have not seen this full thing, and I am curious to see what we are going to hear, and if it's anything like Joe's, I'm sure we will have a lot to dive into. So let me get this cropped and bigger for everybody. And chat, how does that look? A little bit to the right.
Wait, somebody said that Enon is in school in Florida now. How is this motherfucker still a student and he looks like he's my age?
Well, I gotta tell you, I don't think I would have picked the right Joe if I had to pick Joe out of a lineup at all. I was like, is that him? I really did not. I was so off.
We'll
the
go
first time I
over
saw
it.
that. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is
Sammy's
Lauren Matthias. Please subscribe and hit the like button so you can get these unexpected live streams. I have a very important guest with me right now, somebody that I hope can bring us more insight. I am with, will you pronounce your name? Inez?
Wait,
I would have done the same thing.
Enon Harsh.
Enon.
Okay, I just have to do my caddy thing before we get through this, or else I'm not going to be able to live with myself. If you're going to wear florals with such a complicated, tight floral pattern, you want it to look sleek. You don't do ruffles on the shoulders and florals. Just had to point that out. It's driving me crazy. Pick one. Pick one.
Oh, that's funny.
Also known as Chef Dizzy, as you see there. Enon is a very, very important part of this Moscow homicide investigation because he was a neighbor of the 4 victims who lived on King Street. And I just want you to share with us what you know. Many also have heard of the neighbor that possibly heard a scream. This is that person that I have with me now. So let everyone know this is going on. We'll try to take some questions as well, but right now I'm going to start with my questions because I have a lot of them. I want to thank you for being here. And first off, I think we should just start by taking us back to that night. The things I've heard in the news from you, Enon, are that it was an unexpectedly quiet night. You wrote about the crime on social media, and share what you remember from that night. Is that a good place for us to start right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I work about like 10, usually like 9 to 11 hour shifts. So I went to work. I got off around, I think it was around 12 that night. It was kind of like a late close, and I like bullshitted with like a coworker for a little while after work, and then I went home. It was around, I don't know, like 1:30, 2-ish a.m. Is maybe when I got home, maybe and I'm always like kind of hoping that I have like a parking spot right in front of my door when I get there, because like lots of times on campus, there's like parties and like they're pretty full. And so like this time I noticed that like, I don't know, it wasn't really any cars as usual. I was like, cool, I'm gonna get a nice spot right in front. And there was I did, and I saw like this sort of like kind of like decked out like luxury, like I thought it was black SUV, maybe like a Beamer or something, and it had like rims, tinted windows, and like.
Sammy, I was crashing out last night saying that there's no way I could ever be a real reporter. I would lose my mind when I would ask people questions, and they just give me words.
I don't know if this is. Since my daughter was young, going to school, I've always made it a point to say when she was telling me something, don't use those filler words. Try to say something without umming, hemming, and hawing, and try not to use the word like as much. Think of other words to use. Now, we're all guilty of doing that at points, especially when we're trying to explain something in the moment. But it drives me absolutely insane. And this guy seems like a professional student, and this is the way he comes across. It's wild. I also think if it's your story and you're saying that this is what happened, I got off of work at 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock. I came home, I got home maybe around 1:30, 2 o'clock. This isn't very hard to remember. So why are we hemming and hawing?
Yeah, that was a theme in the Joe video. I'm gonna try to go in like.
And also, what kind of restaurant do you work for that makes you restaurants have shifts. So it's like the breakfast rush, the lunch rush, the dinner rush. Since COVID, a lot of restaurants went down, or they cut their lunch, or they cut their breakfast, or they just have dinner and only certain days. So how is this guy working a 12-hour shift at a restaurant? What is it, a hospital?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a double. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's mainly for servers. I don't know if he's a server. I would guess not. I think I just saw someone say that he is a chef.
He's a chef.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I've never heard of a chef working a 12-hour shift. Like, what?
Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Here we go. I'm going to try to go in like 5 to 7 minute clips, depending on it, so we can get into it. Unless there's something that's just like, all right, we can't let that go.
I was like, oh, that's like a pretty cool car. And then like, coming out, like I noticed some like plates from like Arizona, I want to say, or Montana. There's kind of like, it's like, I'm always like kind of curious what kind of like, different plates are like around.
Yeah, he's putting details out. He's just
Arizona or Montana. That's a very different license plate, folks.
Yeah.
So what made you say Arizona or Montana? Funny thing about the Arizona and Montana detail is that in that drug task force, a couple of those takedowns and where they were talking about things, those are two of the states they mentioned. It was Oregon, Montana, Arizona, Alaska.
Shoot. I just unplugged my monitor. 1 second.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
You're fresh printing it up today.
I know.
By the way.
I know. I think it says Smith on the back, does it?
I love that show. I used to love The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I just have to say. It was one of my comfort shows.
Yes, I would agree.
Uncle Phil was the best, and nobody can tell me that Aunt Viv number 2 can ever beat Aunt Viv number 1. Aunt Viv number 1 is the OG best. Just saying. Don't tell me otherwise.
I was a George Lopez at like, I don't know why. My dad liked that show a lot.
All right, we'll watch the video.
And stuff, because usually you just see like Idaho, especially in like my parking lot. And so like I came in and it was like surprisingly like pretty empty that night. Like none of the houses and like that on those like 2 streets were having parties, which was like kind of unusual. And then I went home. It's like making some tea, just like doing some contact staff drills and like stretching. I think I played a game of League, and then I went to bed. And then as I was falling asleep, it usually takes me like 30 minutes to an hour to fall asleep. Like I don't know. I guess I dismissed like initially like one of my neighbors returning. Hello. After me, so I heard like a car shut, a door shut, and then like apartment door shut, and like also like a scream. But like that's like normal. Like I always hear like screaming almost every Saturday night. So like I didn't really like think of it. And so, but like just looking back, I was like, I wonder if like that wasn't just like some drunk dude like screaming. Like it's actually like the murder. And it was like it was kind of a trip having like the cops like come on, and like when it happened, they're just like asking where we were, and we're like, this is weird. Like they're knocking on every single door in our apartment. Like that's never happened before. And then like I went inside and looked on the news, and it was like 4 people stabbed to death. I was like, it's like right across the street. It was like, holy shit. Like,
yeah. Wow. Yeah. When did you hear about it? Was it those knocks on the door? You woke up the next.
So he says that he came back and it was pretty empty, right? And he said that's weird because everybody's usually having parties, but there was a party that night. It was at Sigma Chi, and so I guess that's strange for it to be empty. Whatever. He makes tea. He plays a game, does something with his staff. Takes him an hour, half hour to fall asleep. He hears car doors, which is normal, and screaming that's normal. And then he says, but it's not just a random drunk dude, which means he heard Ethan scream.
Well, and did you
Right?
notice?
Because
Yeah,
he said it wasn't just.
Yep. Sorry, I think it was cut. Go ahead.
So it had to have been Ethan that he heard, which makes me think that makes sense with the timeline of Linda Lane audio. Because you hear that man screaming in the Linda Lane audio.
Yes. And that's a good point. Someone in the chat said, did they say right away that they were stabbed on the news? And also, I thought it was very interesting that he said he played League, which is League of Legends. And there was those rumors, again, on the Reddit rumors about how people in the house and Cobber and a bunch of other people all gamed together on League of Legends.
Interesting.
So.
But he heard a drunk dude. Usually you hear a drunk dude scream. So he heard a drunk dude at some point and then he saw on the news and he said it's weird that all the police were knocking on everybody's doors. Huh. Like, I find it hard to believe that he didn't know about it until he turned on the news.
When I hear police knocking on everybody's doors, it makes me think of like what happened in Boston after the marathon.
Yeah.
And it makes it seem like martial law, which makes me think that the U.S. Marshals are involved. And it makes me think that, again, it's a giant operation because, like, are they knocking on everybody's doors? Not that they're necessarily searching it, but it's just, I don't know. That was an odd thing.
I mean, for the lack of footage that's retrieved from this evening and they're knocking on everybody's doors is kind of shocking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which makes me think of a signal jammer. And maybe that's why we're not getting so much footage.
Right.
But I also think, too, like, I don't really buy that. I don't know what's going on. They're just knocking on everybody's doors. It wasn't until I turned on the news. Like, what is this, 1950?
Well, and
like,
somebody just said...
I'm not buying that.
Right. Somebody just said, too, he left out going to the food truck, which, again, it's alleged, but that sure as shit to me looks like him.
And that lines up, by the way, with the timeline of him getting off of work and then when he says he comes home. And that's why he said he's giving these half-hour intervals. I got off, it could have been 12:30, 1 o'clock. Got home, it could have been 1:30, 2 o'clock. See?
Yep. And also, he posts some weird-ass videos on his TikTok that he's not doing anything. And he's showing a white Elantra. It's so odd. I mean, the Elantra color, whatever, it's just interesting how he drives that.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
this is Lauren.
Stretching.
When did you hear about it? Was it those knocks on the door? You woke up the next day? Did these knocks on your apartment door wake up? How did you learn about it?
I was already awake. I was just like woke up a little bit. I was still like drinking coffee, and like the cops knocked on my door, and like after they asked me some questions, like right after they left and they were starting to talk to the next door over. I looked on my phone and Googled it and found it pretty much instantly, and that's when I knew. And then I think it was
wait a minute. I thought you heard it on the news.
Yeah.
That is a discrepancy right away. That's a discrepancy away. And any journalist would have said, wait a minute, I thought you said you didn't hear about it until you turned on the news.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Now you heard about it after somebody came to your door and, I was already awake drinking coffee. Like, that's a process or something. And then you see somebody knocks on your door. You get asked about it. You go to then you watch them go to the neighbor's door, which means you're observing it. So, and then you go on Google. Like, that's not lining up.
Right.
We the names were released and we found out who it was or whatever.
Okay, that was the question I was going to ask. Like, did you initially know that you knew them at all, or did you just know
No,
the
actually,
neighbors?
when I first saw it, I saw the picture I saw. I thought it was actually the house, like the next house over. I was like, oh. But then when I found out it was like, the house of the people that I like, I don't want to say I knew them, but I was like, I met them. Um, then I was like, damn. And I don't know, it was kind of sad because actually, like they were super cool. Like I really like my neighbors. Um,
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
you'd
whoa.
met them. Is that correct? You'd met.
Stop.
yeah.
You'd.
Stop. I don't want to say I knew them. Pause. I don't want to say I knew them. I met them. And now he's giving an anecdote. But then when I found out, they were my neighbors, they were really cool and stuff. How would you know they were really cool if you didn't know them and you just met them?
Right.
That's another contradictory statement. And how we're not even like a minute or two into this, and he's already made two contradictory statements. And he's also giving a vague roundabout timeline that's not pinpointing it to any particular time, which is bothersome.
Yes. And that's kind of exactly how we got the theme of let's go back and watch the initial stuff, knowing what we know now and how different this looks. Because I'm sure if you were viewing this when this came out, whatever, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, you're still probably like, oh man, like he's just a little off. He's nervous, awkward. Now it's like we can actually say, like, well, look at the contradictions with everything we found out.
I just think
Kaylee
I
and,
find that very strange.
Yeah, I do too. Thank you, babe.
Who else had you met?
I think it was Santa and her boyfriend.
Okay.
And I think there was like some other people there, but I'm really bad with names.
I'm not gonna keep on. I'm telling you, they probably gamed together, the League of Legends, for sure.
Also, you wouldn't say I don't know them, but you're saying Xana and her boyfriend, which demonstrates some sort of at least more than just meeting someone if you know that's her boyfriend.
Right.
That demonstrates a closeness to the point that you know some personal information about her, that the woman who lives next door to me has a boyfriend.
Exactly. And you guys remember too, in the Linda Lane footage, we heard what we thought was video games in the background. Just an interesting thing.
So like I think those like I had to like look at online like the faces to try to like remember them because it was just like it was super brief, But yeah, they were super nice. They're super friendly. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They're like the best neighbors you could want.
I have a question here that you mentioned hearing a lot of sounds typically from the neighbors. Is this because it's highly populated, poorly insulated? Tell us a little bit about the neighborhood, because a lot of us, all we see is only on the news. We're trying to grasp what this neighborhood is like.
I guess you would say it's kind of like an amphitheater here. It's like they live kind of like down like the hill, and then it's like a big open space. Everything's made of wood for the most part, and like they would have little like gatherings outside on their like in the back door, and so I mean, and then they're like drinking a little bit in Creek Row, so it's like you can usually hear like parties and like just like social drinking chatter, like around the block or whatever, like usually on weekends. It's kind of like, similar vibe of like what you'd think of like a small downtown city, like, but yeah.
Birdie,
that makes sense.
What?
When he said what the neighborhood sounds like, I found this interesting. He said it's like an amphitheater. Think of something like the Parthenon or like any sort of the way that this neighborhood is set up. And if you look at the topography of it, which he's discussing, he's correct. It is like an amphitheater because there's higher elevated homes surrounding and going down a hill into almost like a valley, and the sound bounces off the houses and the parking garages, and it is like an amphitheater. He's not wrong. So that's why he's able to hear social things like just drunk chatter from somebody outside, because the sound is essentially bouncing off of other houses in the way that this sort of neighborhood is shaped. He's not wrong. So that makes it even more crazy that nobody supposedly heard what was happening, and you're not capturing all of this happening. And the few times that we actually heard it, like on the Linda Lane, that they wish they could get rid of, but it does exist, I'm telling you, they are suppressing some audio. They have to be. Because he just said you could hear drunk chatter at parties.
Yeah, they have to be. And I also think it's important to remember too, these are college rental houses. They're not made with like your nicer suburban area building materials. Most of the time are made of like brick. Like if you guys have watched the King Roadhouse get torn down, all it took was that bulldozer, just one sweep motion, and the whole thing went down.
Oh, it's like they used to build those like sorts of houses. Well, now that was better back then, but like Sears used to have like one of those homes. Like you could literally look in a catalog back in the 50s, and a Sears catalog would sell versions of homes. They just sprout up whole suburban neighborhoods with these like sort of houses, and it's not that, but it's even worse material now. It's like IKEA walls.
Yeah.
Frat houses, two fraternity homes probably have a decent amount of parties going on if it's a college town. Is that?
And lots of the block parties are kind of popular too. Like they'll kind of like like get in big crowds and then kind of like wander around. You know what I mean? Just like go throughout campus and stuff. Not so much lately, but like you go from like sometimes they only stay at a house for like an hour or two, and then they like kind of like wander around. Stuff.
That
I guess
sense.
in the winter a little bit less, but yeah.
Okay. And are you? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry to find the question. They were at like I want to say 1-ish p.m. 1:30.
Okay. So shortly after the police were called, then, in other words.
Yeah, they came almost instantly.
Okay.
It was a big deal.
We have another question here. Are you a student? How long have you lived there?
I'm not a student. I've been cooking for like 6 years now, 5 years.
Okay.
I've lived here off and on for 20. What was the last question? I missed it.
Let's see. It was, are you familiar with the activities at the house? I assume they mean the crime scene. Like,
okay, Birdie.
You were at their house when you met them, right?
I'm trying to pause it. There you go.
Okay, he again is doing this not married to detail thing about his own record of residence, saying, I'm not a student. I've cooking here 5 years, 6 years, but I've been living here on and off 20, which is okay. I mean, have you lived there for 6 years or 5 years? Not that hard.
Right.
Cooking on and off for 20 years? Okay. Then saying that they came almost instantly, that the police... Oh.
Sorry. I don't know. That happens randomly when I don't click the studio enough.
So he said that the police, he noticed them at 1:30 p.m. He said, but they came almost instantly. Okay, how would you know they came instantly if you don't know when this happened? That's not instantly. If you think it happened when you heard a scream of a drunk guy that now you're realizing is probably when the crimes were happening, how the fuck do you know that they came instantly? That's the opposite of instantly.
My whole thing is, it's still like, I swear to God, this is him.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So it's like, why aren't you talking that you were at the food truck, dude?
Yeah. Let's keep going.
If this starts over again. Oh, shit.
The picture I saw, I thought it was actually the house, like, the next hour or two. And then they, like, kind of, like, wander around and stuff.
That
I guess
sense.
in the winter, a little bit less, but yeah.
Okay. And are you... Go ahead.
Oh, sorry to find the question. They were at, like, I want to say 1-ish p.m., 1:30.
Okay. So shortly after the police were called, then, in other words.
Yeah, they came almost instantly.
Okay.
It was a big deal.
We have another question here. Are you a student? How long have you lived there?
I'm not a student. I've been cooking for like 6 years now, 5 years.
Okay.
Um, I've lived here off and on for 20. What was the last question? I missed it.
Let's see. It was, are you familiar with the activities at the house? I assume they mean the crime scene. Like, you were at their house when you met them, right? I'm referring
No,
to a Reddit.
I met them. They were actually outside. I never went inside.
Okay.
But no, I didn't. Like. I was in my apartment all night. So.
Okay, the night of the murders or the crime, you were in your apartment all night.
I never really hung out with them. So like, to me they were just like some normal sorority girls that drank every once in a while on the weekends. So.
Okay, and yeah, and when I was asking you about meeting them, I want everybody else to know, and I know, but you also decided to share an AMA on Reddit recently, which is when I reached out to you, and you did kind of mention meeting them, or at least Kaylee, and maybe you think you might have met Xana and her boyfriend. That would be Ethan. Bringing them a bottle of wine, perhaps. Was that what happened? Or share us. Can you take us to?
Yeah, because I think the person I think I remember most is Kaylee, and like when I introduced myself, I think she was like the first one I shook hands with. And yeah, I just had like this. It was a pretty nice bottle of wine. I don't remember what kind it was, but it was pretty expensive. And I was cooking with it, and I wasn't gonna finish it. And I was like taking my trash out, so I don't remember while I was outside. And they were just like like chit chatting, drinking a little bit, playing some cool music. And so I went down, and they were like drinking some beer, and I was just like asked her if she wanted this bottle of wine. I wasn't gonna finish this, and they were like, "Yeah, fuck yeah." And then I was like, "Yeah," and then I just introduced them, like the neighbor, like lived upstairs, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, they were super nice and smiley, and that's pretty much all I remember. I never met him after that. I was like, I always thought about crashing their party sometimes, but I never actually like did it. I usually got my own thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, you referred to them in the Reddit AMA as beautiful, joyful. I can't remember the other two adjectives, but this is.
Sorry for that bomb.
Okay, you got to think of like when you pause it, just look at like the timestamp.
Yep.
So here's something interesting. So, are you familiar with the activities at the house? Oh, they party, drink every once in a while, and then he says, "But I only saw him at the outside. I never went inside. I was inside the apartment all night." So, but that's weird because she was just asking him, have you ever been in the house? And he kind of was starting to answer it like, "No, I've only seen him outside. And then I was inside my apartment all night." Basically like, I'm nervous about this. Let me give my alibi. I was basically in the apartment all night. I never inside. And then saying, this is weird, where he said, "I always thought about crashing the parties." And I feel like he was probably wanting an in to go into their house. So he sees them drinking beer outside, and he comes out with a nice bottle of wine and was hoping that if he gives them the bottle of wine, they're going to say, "Come join us."
Well,
that's my impression.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that he was trying to get an angle to get in with them.
I was just going to say too, it's like you looked at like the facial expressions and just kind of his body language. Like, I don't know if it's just because I'm a guy and I can kind of see it more. I'd be curious if any of the ladies in the chat picked up on it, but didn't it kind of seem like he almost felt like too smooth for like, "Hey, I'm about to throw this bottle of wine away. There's a half open bottle, but it's a super nice one. Like, do you guys want it?" And then he's like,
"Well, that's what I'm saying." I guarantee you he had been listening to these parties going on, wanting to be invited because they're such nice, smiley, pretty girls, right? Is what he said. Smiley, cute girls, sorority girls, drink once in a while. He was looking for an angle to be invited in, and he didn't get invited. So I get it. You want to meet a nice, pretty girl.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, that's understandable. We're humans. If it wasn't for the crime, it'd be totally normal. And so he thinks, "Oh, they're outside. They're taking out their trash or doing something." He's watching them, and he thinks, "Perfect. I'm a little drunk. I have a little liquid courage. I'm going to go out here with my nice bottle of wine and he probably hoped that they would invite him to join, is my guess.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, that's got to be his angle. All right, hopefully I'm close on the timestamp.
That lives there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not that observant, but I'm.
You probably didn't think too much of it then. Any ideas?
No, not really. It's pretty decked out. Yeah, and some of my coworkers actually went to high school with them in Coeur d'Alene, so it's a drinking a little bit, playing some cool music, and so went down and they were like drinking some beer, and I was just like asked her if she wanted this bottle of wine. I wasn't gonna finish this, and they were like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then I was like, yeah, and then I was just introduced. I'm like the neighbor, like I lived upstairs, and yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, they were super nice and smiley, and that's pretty much all I remember. I never met him after that. I was like, I always thought about crashing their party sometimes, but I never actually like did it. I usually got my own thing going on.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, you referred to them in the Reddit AMA as beautiful, joyful. I can't remember the other two adjectives, but yeah.
They seem very cool. And some of my coworkers actually went to high school with them in Coeur d'Alene, so it's a trip for us. So, and they said they're super cool too. So it's crazy that it's like when you think about these people getting stabbed, it's kind of like horrifying because it makes you think that it can happen to anyone. Like not just like people who are doing some shit. You know what I mean? Like just like normal people every day. And I think that's the really like spooky, scary part right now to some people.
Yeah. What's your thought about the luxury SUV now, looking back? You probably didn't think too much of it then. Any ideas?
No, not really. It's pretty decked out. I think how like rims and new windows. It just looked like a cool car, and that's why I noticed it. But I didn't I just assumed it was like one of the the people's parents. Like a lot of the students here have really rich parents, and they have nice cars. So that's just kind of what it seemed like.
I wonder if he's talking about that nice ass BMW MX6 or whatever it is, the white one that you see on Linda Lane. That's like
he's not a car. He's not a car person because he would have noticed what car it is for sure. You know what I'm saying? He's just noticing the surface level shit like a girl would notice. Oh, nice rims, tinted windows, but not really, get into greater detail. But yeah, I'm curious. Also, that the fact he added beautiful and joyful on as adjectives amongst other on the Reddit post is a little bit more than smiley. And I noticed when he said, I'm really, it was really, my coworkers went to high school with these girls in Coeur d'Alene, and it was really a trip for us. But I thought you just met them. And then saying, and we just realized it could happen to anybody, just like me. Like, This is a very, if you really parse through people's words, it is interesting because I feel like it's telling, a lot more telling than people are realizing.
Yes, I totally agree.
To me, and I don't know. I saw I think it was a kind of like a deserty. It might have been. It was either like Arizona. It might even been Colorado, but I think or like Montana. And I saw one of those cars parked up on the hill of our lot a lot. I'm wondering if it was a white Elantra. I'm thinking back and I can't remember. I don't want to say it was or not, but that was the only other car I noticed that didn't seem like someone that lives there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not that observant, but I'm pretty.
I gotta see when this was posted.
Okay, why would he's not observant, but one of the most common cars in that area is a white Elantra. So why would that be weird? The more weird one would be the fucking decked out SUV that you can't seem to remember the make or model of. But now you're observant all of a sudden.
This was streamed December 13th of 2022. What was the exact date of Kohberger's arrest?
December 30th.
Guys,
I think
come on. Dude just says a white Elantra. Oh my God. Doesn't he drive a white Elantra?
it's not a weird car that seems like it doesn't belong
the
because
most
like I
normal
said,
car.
it is one of the most normal brands of cars. And in that area, I think when you expanded it out to Pullman, it was like 22,000, 29,000, something like that. So you think you're actually stating right now before Brian's arrested a make and model of the most average looking fucking car everybody drives, but you can't remember the make and model of a decked out luxury SUV? I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Unbelievable.
What would make you pay attention to a white Elantra that makes it seem like it wouldn't belong? And I fucking dare anybody to go Google map the cars that were in that area. There's no luxury cars. It was a white Elantra would have fit right in.
I would say that the only luxury cars and I'm going off of just sound. I'm not the most car guy as far as like exact stuff, but like I would say you got the Range Rover, you got the Linda Lane that drops off those kids that are walking in where you kind of hear the "Are you scared?" And that to me sounds like a souped up kind of like black car. And then you got what looks like to be a luxury SUV that I thought he was talking about, even though he said it was black. Again, you know, I don't know now with like the night vision and the infrared if maybe it's a different color and it just made it show up white. So, but that to me looked like, I think we figured it out, was like an X6M series of a BMW SUV. So
again, why wouldn't a white Elantra fit in that area? It looks like every other fucking car in that area.
Right.
It makes no sense to just point that out. That's just so weird. Like, I can't even describe how strange that is. It's eerie as fuck.
It is weird. And that's why I went to go look. I'm like, I got to see when this was uploaded. And this is still 2.5 weeks before Cobber is arrested.
I'd say more observant than like most people, I guess.
Yeah. Liz is asking, did you know that your coworkers knew them before or after the
No.
murder?
No, one of the, like, the next day I went to work, I had one of the dudes talk down and talk to me and, you know, just like ask me how I was doing and talk, and, you know, was telling me how, like, knew some of the people or something, and like, it's like, well, that's crazy.
No.
I mean, that's like, Coeur d'Alene's pretty local, you know what I mean?
That's a discrepancy because he just said he was having friends over in his apartment and they said they knew the girls, and so he went down and brought them that half bottle of wine.
Right.
That's not true. He just literally said that, oh yeah, my buddies who I had over listening to cool music, blah, 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 and they knew him from Coeur d'Alene. They went to high school with them. So no, you didn't. And she goes, did you just figure out that your coworkers went to high school with them? No, you just said that you knew that.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
I also thought it was weird that he said, yeah, a couple of my coworkers stopped down to see how I was doing. Well, if you don't know them, and how would anybody else know that you would have known them?
I mean, it makes sense to want to chit chat about it since he lives so close in proximity. Like, I don't think that's that bizarre, but like, for somebody that's that observant, he's not very observant of his words that are completely contradictory 1 second to the next.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so like,
right,
it's not that far off.
Right, and that's where you work then, is Coeur d'Alene. Is that?
No, I work in Moscow. No, I work in Pullman.
You went to high school with them in Coeur d'Alene, and you work in Moscow. That makes sense.
No, I didn't go to high school with them. One of my coworkers did.
Okay.
I went to school in Pullman.
Okay, all right. Sleuth Mom, it's good to see you. I want to let people know that for those missing, Sleuth Mom does a wonderful job covering important cases. Thanks for being here with us, Sleuth Mom. You know, there's some audio. I wanted to ask you this because you've come forward and said you may or may not have heard a scream. You know, you're thinking about it now, wondering if it was a party sound you heard, or if it was an actual, you know, scream you heard. There has been so much speculation going on, you know, online and social media. I know you know that. You've been a part of that. We'll talk about that later. But there's been some audio making rounds of a scream. And I was just wondering if you could confirm that that was nothing you provided to any media anywhere, because a lot of people are trying to make connections there.
I didn't hear about it till basically people were telling me, and and things like this. And I was like, oh, LOL. Yeah, no, complete hoax. Yeah,
Okay.
I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
How many views has it got?
It's on multiple channels, so I couldn't even tell you how many views the screen
Oh, wow.
has.
Okay.
That is the strangest.
That is pridefulness. That is not even trying to hide that you're excited to be in this moment, which, don't get me wrong. Okay. Let's all understand a human factor. If you're going on a big time podcasters thing, like, you're going to be like, oh, wow, this is going to be interesting. Like, a lot of people are going to see it. Curious how many views. It didn't come off like that, though.
No, he just seems like somebody, like, again, like, I want to be noticed by the girls and have them invite me in. My coworkers are paying attention to me. They want to know what I know. He likes the I'm the belle of the ball moment, I feel like. But the way that he just awkwardly laughed at that was so forced and weird.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and play that.
LOL. Or
Make connections there.
I didn't hear about it till basically people were telling me and things like this, and I was like, oh, LOL. Yeah, no, complete hoax. Yeah,
Okay.
I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
How many views has it got?
It's on multiple channels, so I couldn't even tell you how many views the screen
Oh, wow.
has received because there's so many different outlets, not official outlets, but YouTube.
Yeah, I didn't record anything. I don't see how I would record something after I hear something unless I was already recording, which I wasn't. So
Yeah. You've mentioned that you're an artist and that you're a chef. Do you ever stay up late doing your craft, working on things? Do you ever hear what's going on around the neighborhood ever? If you're up
yeah.
late?
Watch it come out. He's like, oh, I was actually giving DM art instructions, and maybe that's why she was drawing all those bushy eyebrows and the eyes. Maybe he was like training her. Who knows? That's like me kind of just like being like, if this guy says that, because I've never seen this full thing, I'd just be blown away.
I mean, I don't know. No, I guess not. I mean, I usually listen to something, so I mean, I'm usually like zoned in on whatever I'm doing. But I guess it's kind of like on like the parties night. Like the like, I don't know. The parties are kind of just like noise to me. So like I hear that, and like every once in a while, like I'll hear like somebody return home really late in the night. But I mean, it's like semi-normal, like 3, 4 a.m. Like that's not that late. People go over to people's houses and they hang out for a long time, and then they come home on the weekends. Like that's just like college life, I feel like. And like sometimes I'll just like listen to some music in my bedroom to like kind of like tune out like anybody who's like super super late or loud. And then sometimes like you'll hear just like people walking down, like I don't know, sometimes yelling, but not like it doesn't happen like, I don't know, it's not super super loud, but it's like it's campus, it's noisy, but I mean it's like you can hear what's going on, I guess, sort of like was close vicinity, but yeah, it's usually just noise. Like there's nothing like you want to listen to. I guess it's kind of weird. I guess like you can kind of like, our walls are really thin, so like certain places you can hear like certain areas outside or inside, whatever. But I don't know. The place I think you can hear in that neighborhood.
This is a contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
He said prior that it's like an amphitheater, so you can even hear people who are just socializing and talking, like having a fire basically, like, and just having beers outside of their house. And you can hear things like people coming home late and a car door shutting. But then all of a sudden it's just noise, and you can't really hear, like, what is it? Which is it?
Yeah. I've also, just real quick, just a quick pause here. People in the chat have been saying like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? Any of the live stream that you may have missed, I upload all of these live streams to YouTube. The username is Birdie Bombshells or Birdie. The full stream's up there before noon the next day. So if you did miss any of it, just so that if people are trying to figure it out in the chat, you can see it once it's uploaded.
Neighbor's house, I guess, is like, and the house is like the yard. I feel like the yard is the place where you can hear the most things. Like, so if you were going to hear something that happened at a house, it'd probably be the yard. Like I feel like the sounds inside, I'm guessing, wouldn't carry as much, just because like again, I think that yard is sort of like almost an amphitheater set up a little bit. You know, it's like it's got the hill and it's like down a little bit, and then above it is like the parking lot and another.
Am I tripping, or are we listening to the same thing? Like almost word for word.
It's wild. It's wild. And inside, you can't hear that much. How would you know? You've never been inside, correct?
And how he knows the yard, it's just, I swear to God, he just said the exact same sentence that he did 15 minutes ago. And like, okay. Again,
And they contradict.
I go back to like, I could never be a reporter because I would be like, bro, I know it's loud. It's like an amphitheater. You said it. You know, I don't understand what's happening.
The hill. So
I feel like
sorry.
I feel like he's hitting details that he wants to make sure he gets out there. But then at the same time, because he doesn't seem like the brightest crayon in the box, he's adding other details on the fly that contradict with what he's really trying to put out there, right? So that's why we have this like massive contradictory interview. It's very odd.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know, it's kind of like a meteor like hole in a sense. And so like I think probably like, you know, like in the middle the sound probably resonates around.
That makes sense. And You Can Call Me Patches is also saying college towns are just noise sometimes. It's hard to tell what's what. A request for clarification. Back to the SUV one more time that you saw. Can you clarify?
I don't think
There's
so.
some confusion in chat. Okay, so you're saying you don't.
I don't know though.
I
don't. She drove a Ford. I don't know. Ford's not that luxury to me. I don't think I would have noticed that. I mean, it's a nice Corvette. I don't think
my guy.
it didn't stand out to me. I don't know. It just stood out to me because, you know, like I drive kind of a sketchy car, and it's kind of decked out, and it's like, I don't know. I noticed like I've always been into like, you know, cars with like rims and tinted windows and stuff like that, and this was like one of those cars I'd be like, man, probably if I was younger and rich, I probably would have bought it. So I think that's why it stood out to me. But like, yeah, it just you know, it seemed like, you know, either a baller or like somebody's rich parents. That's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's the speculation? Do you talk to neighbors? What are people saying about this? You know,
I'm a hermit. I'm super hermit.
Okay.
I don't really talk to anyone. I talk to a few of my really old friends. I talk to I hang out with my coworkers sometimes. And most of the time I'm super busy in my crafts. Like, I don't know. And I have like, I don't know. There's like a girl I hang out with, and that's about it.
Okay.
Which is probably the girl from the grub
Does
truck.
it make you nervous at all?
I was just thinking that it's got to be the girl from the grub truck, and I'm not going to click this slide because I do not want to lose the place on the video. But
no, keep going.
All that this is unsolved. Do you feel
A
nervous?
little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, it's pretty brutal and like, I don't know, thought out killing, I guess. Like, it's like kind of scary, and it also kind of scary that it just happened to some ordinary people. So I think everyone's a little bit spooked now. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I guess in the city the shit's like semi-normal or whatever, but you know, like not here. Like, I don't know. So I think, I don't know. It's kind of scary that this would happen ever. Like, especially in this town. So.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's like you think about it, it's like, what kind of protection can you get in these cases? Like, you can lock your windows, you can like, you know, put strips and stuff, you can get a gun, but like this dude like went in the house and killed them before they could really react, like grab a gun or whatever, and left, and not anybody knowing. Like that's scary, you know what I mean? So like thinking about people doing that out, especially like on your block, is pretty spooky.
Yeah.
Well, this is
absolutely.
He said
it is.
He said that this dude could get in and out like that, and then he said, but then he changed it to plural and said people. He said dude, and then he said people, because remember, at that time in the press, we were still working with the plurals. We were still doing persons, like parentheses, people, person, people. So it's weird he said, scary that this dude, and then he says that people. I just thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. It is interesting also to mention that pretty much everybody that's gone on camera says he. They don't say they say, like Steve, he says he didn't have to go up the stairs. So, you know what I mean? This guy is saying that's this dude. He's saying the white Elantra. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I know that it's all way too weird to just be natural.
Now, he also said something that demolished my original thought that maybe he's just one of those guys that doesn't really care about cars, so he's not going to notice. But of course, he noticed a plain Jane white Elantra that wouldn't stick out anywhere. But then he says, it stuck out to me because when I was young, I used to notice those baller like cars and all the rims and the tints and da-da-da. So that means he cares about that stuff. So he does notice those sorts of things. So he would have noticed the make and model of the car. That would have been something he would have paid attention to because he's envious of those sorts of things from his childhood, because he wanted those sorts of things. He cares about those sorts of things. So no way he didn't notice what make and model it was. He would have known. He would have known.
Yep. I was just looking up the Chef Dizzy thing. It says meth cook. Or a handler in a sea gang. I don't know. It's odd.
It's and thank you. Hello from England. We are so sorry to hear such a horrific crime, they said. Thank you so much. Have you talked to law enforcement since that first day they came over and asked you if you'd heard anything?
Yeah, I did once.
Once? Did they come over to the neighborhood again to talk to everyone, or did you go talk to them?
No, I wouldn't. I just talked to them later.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us about that, or is that
no,
off
not
the
really.
record? Okay.
That's off the record, Chef.
Thank you. And by the way, this is a channel where I will ask a lot of questions, but I also respect my guests. For those wondering if something's off the record or you don't ever want to answer, that's all you need to say and we move on. So thank you. You posted on your Facebook. I'm going here, by the way, to my phone to look at questions that I have written for you. And I'm also getting questions over in chat. While I look, you have mentioned on your own social media pages and even posted some of the proof that you've been getting harassed yourself and feeling the wrath of true crime sleuth and speculation. Can you tell us a little bit about that or what you've been going through?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of, it's almost hilarious to me that people think I did it and they're like telling me like, yo, you did it. And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like.
That's a giant red flag. Giant red flag.
I don't want to talk about the police interview, but I think it's almost kind of hilarious. Almost kind of hilarious.
And your friends know it's you?
That's not a statement that I would ever say being forthright. I think it's almost kind of hilarious. Okay.
I am going to press play. I have to race like a piss horse. I'll be right back.
The equivalent to like flat earth theory to me when I like read some of these like Reddit conspiracies and shit. I don't know. I've been mostly ignoring it, but sometimes I read it and it gets to me, but I don't know. It's the other time it's just like it's almost entertaining to me, but it's a little bit scary too. I'm like, what are these people trying to get me? But it's whatever.
Yeah. Cheshire Cat is saying, are there cameras in the area? Do you think anyone might have been able to catch anything that happened?
I doubt very many. No, there's not a lot of thefts or break-ins or murders or really anything that happens here. A lot of people leave their doors unlocked, windows unlocked. It's generally pretty safe. Our apartment complex didn't even really have lights in like the hallway or cameras until like right after. Then they put up like some motion sensors and stuff. But like there's like for the most part, this neighborhood's like pretty dark, and we kind of, I don't know, I kind of liked it. You know what I mean? It's like at night, like there's no lights, and you kind of go to sleep really easily. But yeah, I don't think very many people have cameras because they don't really feel unsafe in this neighborhood or whatever. Most people know people too, so it's like whatever. Yeah, it's not a really sketchy neighborhood, you know, like just a bunch of college kids. Yeah,
Right.
I know apparently some of them have like doorstep neighbors, and I know, like, you know, just in the 21st century, a lot of people have like security cameras, so there's like probably some stuff around, but it's like me, like I have like, I bought a
All right, did I miss something?
Yeah, he said that people they're like the flat earth theory people on Reddit who are accusing him, and they said, and it doesn't really get to me, but it kind of gets to me because it could be scary and they could be after me. And then he said, but it's also hilarious. And then he said that there's not a lot of break-ins or murders, which that's a lie because we saw on police body camera footage from when somebody in that neighborhood right down the street said the cop said there's been a lot of break-ins in the area lately. So that's not true. And then he said that there's not a lot of cameras in the area and he likes it dark. They started to put up spotlights and he said it was easier to sleep. And there's not a lot of light in those neighborhoods and apartment complexes. And he also said not many cameras, even though it's the 21st century, because it's a safe neighborhood. And that's the rundown, and you're welcome.
Thank you, Sammy T. I went back like 25 seconds.
But yeah, I don't think very many people have cameras because they don't really feel unsafe in this neighborhood or whatever. Most people know people too, so it's like whatever. Yeah, it's not a really sketchy neighborhood, you know, like just a bunch of college kids. Yeah,
Right.
I know apparently some of them have like doorstep neighbors, and I know, like, you know, just in the 21st century, a lot of people have like security cameras, so there's like probably some stuff around, but it's like me, like I have like, I bought a cam for my car just, you know, in case whatever, but it's like, it's been like, you know, like a year and I still haven't put it in my car, so like,
Oh wow.
you know, like that's how like safe I, you know, it's like, I just like never really felt the need to like actually put it up. But now I'm like, I should definitely put that shit up. I wish I had it up now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Would people sleep with their doors open in this town? Is that kind of the
That's an interesting thing. So, like I said, in a police body cam footage of a prior break-in that happened where a college girl called in and said her car was broken into, her luggage was outside of the car, her glove compartment was gone through. This was like right before the crimes, and the cop on the body cam footage said, there's been a lot of break-ins in the area lately. Now he's saying, I bought this camera for my car, but, you know, I didn't set it up. Now that's just a laziness factor, but there has to be a catalyst for why he bought that camera. You don't just buy that if you're not worried about something. So that's why I don't buy his whole, no, there's no break-ins around here. You bought that camera for your car for a reason, because I bet you knew about the cars getting broken into in your neighborhood, like the cops said. A lot of break-ins in the area. See? Smart.
Yes.
Now, he also has this outside-inside perspective where he says, everybody knows everybody in this area. So pretty much everybody knows everybody. He's coming from an outsider perspective versus an insider, is how I'm taking this. Like, he looks at everybody knows everybody, and he's trying to get an in with everybody. Hence the bottle of wine. Bring it over. I want to be invited to the party. I don't want to be the loner listening to weird music up in my apartment, just trying to fall asleep and drinking coffee, right?
Yep.
He wants to be an insider, and he realizes from his observations, everybody knows everybody.
Well said. And he also said he was a hermit and he doesn't do much.
Outside, inside.
Yep.
I don't know about that far, but I'm not gonna say it's never happened. I accidentally walked into somebody's house because the door was open, and I was trying to go to a friend's house when I was like 17. And I like opened it up, and it was just like some dude on the couch. I was like, "Oops." Shut the door back to halfway. I was like, "Oops." Went to the next house. I was like, "Oh, cool. This is the right one."
Yeah. Afflicted Angel. A lot of people are just asking for
In general, I just gotta say too, it's just an odd interview. Like, you're being interviewed because of a quadruple homicide. Like, the lack of, like, I guess what you would call self-awareness.
Yeah, it's stunning. No wonder why he didn't get many invites and he was an outsider. I can totally
Maybe
see
he's
why.
the creeper.
He's totally a creeper. I have done though, like when he was giving this anecdote about walking into somebody's house. I've been wasted and done that before, like at college, where I'm like, is this where this is? And and people's doors are open. So I don't find that particularly weird, but just his kind of nonchalant storytelling is bizarre.
Yeah. The laugh gets me.
Me too.
I just, yeah. I don't even think I could make the noise.
I can't either. I don't, and it sounds forced. It's bizarre. It really is.
Yeah.
Confirmation, which I actually really value. As a journalist, I was a television reporter for 10 years. It's really good to hear and see things and then to ask for more confirmation always. So they're asking, is this actually you commenting on Reddit doing the AMA? They want to know that. Yes, this is him. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. Thank you, Sleuth Mom, for reminding people that this is very true. I'm trying to read everything in chat, and some moderators are helping a bit, but I am missing some things. You can send and post something in a super chat or leave something in comment, but I don't know if we'll have the same guest again. So I'll do my best though to get to your questions. And thank you again for being here. A lot of thank yous are coming through for you being here and coming forward. What have you heard anything about the alcohol offense at 3 a.m.? Do you know about that? It was behind the Sigma Chi house, and we have body cam footage from that. Do you know anything about that, or?
I haven't. It's the first I've heard of it. I don't really pay attention to the media or news really at all. I'm a stick juggler. I kind of in my own world most of the time.
Not true.
Do you know what he means?
That's not true, by the way. When he said, I don't pay attention to the media, he was literally reading Reddit posts and getting upset because that's how he knew people thought he was, and he's worried about views. So get the fuck out of here with your bullshit. What's a stick juggler?
I think it's a knife. I think it's knives. That's what I thought.
A stick juggler?
I'm
kind of like a stick juggler.
I'll look it up.
I don't like this. I don't like this whole obvious ploy of like, I'm too cool for school, but yet I care so much to be in on the action. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah. I'm just looking this up quick. All right, come on. No, Jesus. My AI is drunk right now.
But yeah, no. I don't. I'm super hermit. I kind of I live like one of the most introverted lives you can.
I'm also not confirming that is what it means. I'm just saying, like, in my mind, that's where my head went as far as what the
now he's a super hermit. Now he's not just a hermit; he's a super hermit.
Super hermit. That'd be a dope username, honestly.
Which is trying to be the person that just doesn't interact with everybody. So don't look at me. I have no involvement. I know nothing, but I know so much of nothing that I'm putting myself on this show. I care about the views, and I'm trolling Reddit and putting an AMA. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Really?
Lil Buddy just said he done unalived once too. What does that mean? That would be insane.
What did you say?
That someone said he done unalived someone once before.
I remember hearing about this like a long time ago. I think I covered I wish I had my 2 old channels because just so many videos. Ugh. But I want to say I covered something about him, oh my God, years ago, but I can't remember what the story was about. That would be interesting. Somebody in the comments, if you can figure that out, because I don't feel like researching right this second.
Yeah. I'm gonna let it play while people dig on that.
Can imagine. But no, I'm curious though. Tell me about it.
Well, it was, and I already have one correction. Thank you to everyone in chat helping me with these little details. It was on the band field. It was about 3 a.m. There's body cam footage now that has come out from it. It was the morning of the murders. So people are, zeroing in on different things they're seeing in the body cam footage that was released, taken on the band field at 3 a.m. And I know that you sometimes hear things, not always. You say you were asleep all night. What time did you go to bed that night, by the way?
I don't know. I'm probably around like 2:30 to 4 a.m.
Okay.
I don't really look at the time after I get at home, so it's all just like an estimate. But
That's a big gap. That's the biggest. He's usually a half an hour estimator, and now we're going 2:30 to 4 a.m. sometime. You motherfucker. And by the way, for somebody who's been trolling Reddit and so upset, he's fluctuating between scared, upset, and thinking it's hilarious that people think it's him that did this. So that means he's an ever-present person on Reddit regarding this case. You don't think this motherfucker came across a Reddit post about the Banfield and this is the first he's hearing about it? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you liar. You liar.
Why would he deny it unless he knew that it was happening and he didn't want to say that he had any details on it because he knew that if he did, she would probably dive into it more. And I was just going to say too, in general, like chat, I haven't done this all stream, but like type of 1, is this guy creepier than Kohberger just from the eye test and like what we've heard? Type of 2 if Kohberger's creepier, because this guy.
I don't get creepy from Kohberger. Maybe that's because I have a high functioning autistic person in my family and I'm just used to that vibe. But I don't get creep from Kohberger because I understand how those people present. So that doesn't, this though creeps me out way more.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree.
That's probably the range, based off of the activities that I was doing.
Yeah. One more confirmation having to do with SUVs, but now this is about Kaylee's or some. Can you confirm if there was a black Explorer that was parked there daily? It was parked behind a red Jeep inside the crime scene tape. Everybody was sort of.
I don't think it was that one. No, I'm gonna review the footage again, but I don't think it was that one.
Okay. Did you see a black Explorer that was parked there daily with crime scene tape around? Or did you notice the vehicle inside the crime scene tape?
So. I think I noticed a lot of like dark SUVs, and I just kind of assumed they were like FBI or police or something. But this was like this. I'm pretty sure this other car was different. And it had out of state plates. That's one of the things I noticed about it. I think this one didn't have out of state plates.
Wait. How do you? This is really gonna bother me. I'm not giving up on this. How do you know? And you notice it's out of state plates, but you're confused if it's Arizona or Montana, which are completely. It's not like saying, is it Alabama or Arizona, which is like one letter off? Is it Alaska or Arizona because it's one letter off? It's totally different letters.
It's totally different. And again, I'm trying to piece how many times the narrative has been planted about it being a single person. It's a male. He mentioned the white Elantra. Now he's mentioning out-of-state plates. Guys, that is wild for a dude that can't piece together a sentence that he's made sure to hit on those. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I mean, it's serious. Like, I'm serious. Like,
you care if you're disrespectful to this liar?
I mean, look, I'm just saying that as a general thing. It's more of just like, look at what he can't talk about, but look at what he makes sure he's making sure of that he does.
Of course. That's what I said. He's very careful to hit his points, but then when he gets off track, because he's not the brightest, sharpest tool in the shed, brightest crayon in the box, however you want to say it, he says contradictory things that he doesn't realize it, but he makes sure to keep hitting those points, out-of-state plates, not really sure, white Elantra, oh, I'm very observant, but yet I don't know what time I went to bed between 2:30 and 4. Not really sure.
His
I don't really look at a clock. Your phone is a clock.
there's one up
You
here,
fuck.
way up high.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest spot for a clock I've ever seen. And
I
also,
don't really look at a clock. Well, no shit. Not many people do anymore. We live in 2022 at the time. Not many people are looking at clocks. You're right.
yeah,
We have a phone that is a clock attached to our hip at all times. Thanks.
right. And I was just gonna say too, chat, like keep an eye on how, at least what I've tried to pick up on is like his stuttering and the ums and the likes and the filler words. They disappear when he has to make a point about something he wants to get out there. Like listen to how he talks about the out-of-state plate.
A lot of like dark SUVs, and I just kind of assumed they were like FBI or police or something.
Right there.
But this was like this. I'm pretty sure this other car was different, and it had out-of-state plates. That's one of the things I noticed about it. I think this one didn't have out-of-state. The Ford Explorer, or whatever. I don't think that had out-of-state plates. I could be wrong, but this one definitely had. It was like
No stutters.
I almost want to say it was Utah, honestly, but it was like barren-ish. It was nice. It was hard to see, but it was like barren.
Now we got a new state, Birdie. We got Utah.
Yep.
So now we're just confusing. We're being on purpose confusing. This is not. I want to think about a confusion when he's thinking about his bedtime and we're hemming and hawing, right? See when he has to like actually answer a detail about times he got home, what time you went to bed, what time did you leave work. We're hemming and hawing. But now when we're talking about the out-of-state plates, we're gonna throw that out there. But there's no not sure. Maybe it could be Utah, Arizona, Montana. It's direct. It's direct confusion on purpose.
That's a good pickup for sure. I agree with that.
Barren plates like deserties, like Arizona or Utah, Colorado, Montana. It's like mountainy, maybe. I think it might have been mountainy, but yeah. So
What?
those are.
Wait,
So I
hang
only saw
on.
two cars.
Again, am I tripping, or is this the second time that's happened? That it's like the
These
same
are
sentence.
these are all the drug task force states too, by the way, that were hit. This is wild.
Yes.
Deserty? When did I'm sorry, did I miss the part where Colorado has a desert? Or I don't know. Has anybody been to the Colorado desert? I must have missed that on my ski trip to Durango a couple of years ago. Must have missed that desert. Fucking what?
Yeah.
Of course, I had out-of-state plates. So
Okay. Julie is asking, genuinely curious. She's not being confrontational, and I can confirm
no, you're
that
good.
because Julie is a very curious person.
Vaulted
She's curious.
ceilings.
Why would an
Vaulted
introvert
ceilings.
move to a party town? Go ahead. Sorry.
This is the only place I could afford with vaulted ceilings, so I could juggle at home. I need like at least like 10, 11, 12, 13-foot clearance, so it's hard to find. The apartments like that are hard to find anywhere, so and like the ones with vaulted ceilings are usually like luxury places, so you have to pay like a premium for them. So this was cool. I was living in Pullman, so I was like paying a lot, and I had because of my felonies, I couldn't really move anywhere for 7 years. So after 7 years, I instantly moved into the first place available with vaulted ceilings. Yeah, this is where I.
Because of my felonies.
It checks a lot of boxes.
Oh my God. That was so casually just tossed into the conversation because of we're talking about a quadruple homicide. You live right down the street. You're a chef that used knives. You can't say when you went to bed. You give a 2.5 hour time range, a half an hour apiece on when you got home and when you left work. And now we're talking about felonies. Give me a break. My God.
And he potentially leaves out the fact that he was at the food truck too. So this is unbelievable. I'm glad that we're watching this.
Not to mention, like you look like you just exited a Dave Matthews concert that you probably slept in your car. Fucking horrible clothing that probably smells like incense and, doing a bunch of balloons. And you're get out of here. It's so wild.
But the vaulted ceilings, that's what That's why I moved here too. Jesus, this is
Oh.
unbelievable.
Better price, Birdie.
Ended up.
Gotcha. I will admit, I've been admiring the ceilings in the background. They're beautiful.
Oh,
Those wood ceilings.
Yeah, pretty dope place.
Yeah. Miss Wales asked, did the dog bark lots, or did you know? And I think they're referring to
I did
Murphy.
not know the dog.
Okay.
No, I never met the dog. I didn't know there was a dog until pretty recently, actually. Someone asked me why the dog was spared, and that's the first time I heard about the dog.
Okay. And did you hear any dogs barking ever? Were dogs typically barking in the
No.
neighborhood or nothing?
No, not really. Not usually. It's usually decently quiet at night, I feel like. Sometimes. I don't know. I usually don't hear a lot of animals, honestly.
Well, it's usually decently quiet, but yet I have to listen to music. It's just noise from all the noise I'm hearing every night with, people yelling, people having parties, and I could even hear just people socializing and drinking. But yeah, it's pretty quiet. I'm a hermit, super hermit.
This is also just like the most vanilla interview of chat questions I've ever seen. I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Maybe she said she's like 10 years in the business. Do you think if like somebody sliced the ruffles off of her shirt, she would remember how to do journalism? I'm wondering if it's a product of blocking her critical thinking skills, but we'll see.
That was like when she said, and I'm kind of joking when I say this, but like when she was like, and to any guests that I have, if you don't want to answer a question, just say next, no questions asked. I don't think I could do that. I'd be like, nope, we're not moving on. You're going to give me an answer.
Right. Like, you know what? I learned in journalism that the first thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to put up as many roadblocks as I can to get a good interview. Here you go.
Yep.
Like, good job.
Yep, exactly.
I feel like if, my cat will maybe make a dog bark every once in a while, but that's about it.
Yeah. Again, our deal here is this is like, consider this like Reddit AMA. You can answer any questions here you want, and you don't have to answer any questions you want. But Jamie is asking, he says, where did it go? Someone is asking, this was not it, but somebody was asking if you wanted to go further. They mentioned you had a felony, and you talked a little bit about this on Reddit AMA. Do you want to go into that now, or?
I've got 3. Well, I don't have 3 anymore. They're expired, so they're off my record now. As of like 3 years ago, so It's been like 10 years. But yeah, I had 3. Had a possession of marijuana. Had a possession of MDMA with intent to deliver, and I had a delivery of MDMA.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, and let's see. We lost you for a bit.
I wonder.
Perfect neighbor. I would have loved him in college. He would have been my best friend.
Yeah, that's funny.
He would have been my best friend. This fucking poncho wearing awkward fuck would have been at every party, attached at the hip with me.
Oh man, that's great.
Fucking why would you come over with a bottle of wine? Come over with a bunch of capsules filled to the brim, and I'd be like, "Come on over."
Oh, that's great.
Oh, okay.
Are you back?
Yeah.
You're back. Can we hear you? Okay, we can hear you. All right. Thank you, Stephanie B, for reminding everyone that's here to please, if you like these types of interviews, hit like and subscribe. It helps us know what we should continue doing as a channel. And Liz is asking, this is a great question, and I want to take this question a little bit further. She is asking, have there been any normal parties at the Sigma Chi house since the incident, or any parties, or has it been really quiet?
No, I haven't. I haven't really noticed anything since then.
But they are also home for winter break. They let the students go home.
Right, but I remember seeing, and I don't know if you remember seeing this on TikTok or YouTube, that it was not long after that parties picked up again. Like, remember you seen like footage of like apartment complexes partying going on? They actually reported on it on News Nation. I want to say it was that guy Brian's coverage. They filmed like at some point at night, and there, does anybody in the chat remember this? Yeah, see, there was parties going on pretty quickly right after the fact.
Yeah.
A lot of people got out of Dodge. So I'm not saying that it was the Sigma Chi. Oh, don't worry. They scrubbed their shit quick. They were lightning fast to not say a fucking thing. But I'm talking the general area. I remember seeing, Brian Enton talking about, oh, parties are back up.
Yep. I do remember that, yes.
But I honestly haven't been really I haven't been home as much lately on the weekends, but yeah, it's been pretty quiet, honestly. No, because there's definitely
Wait a minute. Super Hermit hasn't been home as much. Where have you been, Super Hermit? Where have you been? Where have you and your poncho been going since you're such a super hermit?
Yeah.
Why? So after the crimes, you suddenly want to become Paris Hilton? You're a socialite? Where are you going? Where are you going, bro?
That's a good point.
Parties at that house recently, and I think there was like maybe one, but I can't really remember anything outside of that. It's been pretty tame recently.
Okay. Has it been quieter around town since this event?
Yeah, I mean, it's also like you have to think about it too. Like the cops are everywhere, right?
Crime.
Like nobody wants to party. Like the cops are like there's like probably like 20 cops parked in like the parking lot next to our neighborhood. Like, and there's like probably like another 5.
You know what makes me think about this is, so as opposed to what? Where were cops before? Which makes me think about the Banfield, which is like, if it was such a loose area, everybody's partying, not much going on, then why the fuck were cops parked outside in an unmarked police car?
Yeah.
Sitting outside some rando street that you said, neighbor, that was quiet, that you found a parking spot. Not much was going on. Not that big of a party weekend, according to him, even though that's not true. But he said, I found a parking spot, didn't hear that much, not much going on, even though I can't tell you exactly when I got home. And so why would a cop car be sitting outside of the Banfield?
Right.
Right.
I agree. And how many times did the King Roadhouse get the cops called on it just leading up to it? Like I think there was a presence for sure. Also in the chat, Mama Tata, tomorrow I will have you up just because we got 9 minutes of this and I'm on 2.5 hours. So I'm going to finish this up, but I'd love to hear what you got tomorrow.
Well, are we going to do a little bit of Joe Vito's?
We did Joe Vito's last night.
Okay. Then don't worry about it.
Okay. Yep. And I want to finish this, and then we can dive into any kind of closing thoughts. And if I don't stop myself, I will go till midnight. And next thing you know, I look at it, it's like 4.5 hours, and then what happens is it ends up taking forever to download. So I've been trying to hold myself.
Also we have to ask the audience, what do you think, guys, of Birdie and I doing a YouTube show?
Oh yeah, type of 1 if you guys think that. What was the name we came up with? Can we say it?
It was go ahead.
It was No Such Thing. It's like
No
a broad
Such
topic kind of name. I think it'd be fun.
I think it would be fun. We have a good chemistry.
I agree, and you geek me out. I like, that's what I was saying yesterday at the end of the chat. I'm like, I'm so excited to have you on tomorrow just to go off the cuff, and you've not disappointed.
I love I wouldn't ever say of doing another podcast because I had one for so long, but it was like a lightning in a bottle feeling. I was like, this is my, I got that vibe again. I got that vibe.
Yeah, no, it was great. I'm glad that again, we've talked about kind of the randomness of how it all started. And it was actually just because you were like a respectful, normal thinking person to one of my videos and was like, yeah, this guy's on the right track. And it's like, see, that's how you do it. It's like a compliment sandwich. I don't care if people disagree with me. Just don't tell me that I'm stupid, you know?
Oh, I know. People are such toxic trolls on here. It's ridiculous. One being somebody who can't stay out of the fucking makeup aisle at Wet and Wild, apparently. blue electric blue electric slob, I guess, is the new color of the week. All right.
That's fucking
here we go.
Like in the house, like all day. There's always one that's there all night. So it's like, I don't think anyone's trying to party with, you know what I mean? Like for whatever reason. So it's kind of funny. I thought they were like, you know, just trying to like speed trap and pull people over for like the first few weeks, but then I realized that they're just nonstop working on this case. So they're always here. But I'm sure people are trying to throw parties with that happening. You know what I mean?
There's a quadruple homicide next door, and you think they're doing speed traps? I just can't believe it.
Right. Totally. Liz, thank you.
Like, I just don't understand it. It's the biggest crime in the world, and I thought they were doing speed traps. Yeah. I will try to zoom in on the whiteboard chat. I see it. I'll try to do it right now.
Thank you. And I want to correct my words. I called what has happened 4 weeks ago an event. What I mean is an absolutely horrendous crime and tragedy. Forgive my sometimes not the best words I use. I don't mean to. Lives can be hard while I'm multitasking with chat. There was a great question from Julie Holden. I don't see it now, but essentially, has the restaurant you work in, without telling us what that restaurant is, has it been quieter?
No, it's. I mean, people can't stop telling me about the conspiracy theories, and it's actually been providing a little bit of humor in these times, because they're pretty hilarious individuals. So like, I don't know, they just keep like making fun of these new conspiracies, and so it's been an interesting time for sure.
Oh, so it's so hilarious, you know. So hilarious. People say, "Oh, don't be toxic and make fun of people." I've never said a bad word about this person until this person starts going in on creators who have alternate thoughts about this case, and has been extra snipey about it. And so when you start shitting on people like they're stupid because like you want to spell it out for them like kindergarten, and you're treating people and creators on here like they're dumb, I'm smart, I don't like that. So that's why. Don't fuck with us, and then we won't fuck with you.
Yeah. And that's I look, I genuinely, and everybody in my chat knows I'm not trying to be like a soft ass here, but it's like, I don't try to talk about any other critters. I don't mind if people come in here and disagree. It's just the trolling aspect of it. What I couldn't stand was how I felt like there was a strategic like bot army put onto me. And if you've been in my chat, my shit was getting cut every 10 minutes. It was annoying as hell.
That's when I was just like, that's it. Gloves off for me. I'm not like the people on here who I respect. If you try to have them censored, if you're being super catty, if you're being know-it-all-y, I don't enjoy that. I don't care if you disagree. It's how you do it. And so that's when I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not being nice anymore.
Yeah, right. What did Marie says stop using the F word.
Oh, I'm sorry. I really have to work on that. I know.
It's the smallest violin.
I know. You know what?
Sorry, I gotta finish it. Oh, fuck. I'm taking too long. Sorry.
I have such a potty mouth. I've always had it. And my uncle, he loves watching my videos. And he always tells me, I love your videos, but you're swearing. And I'm like, I wish it wasn't so ingrained in part of my lexicon. Like, I just wish I was not such a potty mouth, but it's just me. I don't even think it's bad. So that's the part where I'm like, oh, people find this offensive. I forgot people find this offensive.
Yeah. I mean, I do try to watch it just from like getting bananaed on here. So, I mean, I also think it's like we're all adults here. You know, you're in a.
I don't know how to change it because it's just so natural. It's just my regular way of speaking. It's not a put on. I really just have always had a bad mouth.
Yeah. Okay. There's 2 minutes of this. I'm going to let this play all the way through, and then we will recap.
For the first week, it was really quiet. I didn't say like probably like really anything for the first few days. Like I was at work after it happened, but you know, after a few weeks, you know, it's starting to get better. I don't know. I have the other day I was thinking about it and I was pretty quiet, but you know, we've been trying to like, I don't know. It's best to just try not to think about it, you know, right now. But it's hard also because like we're surrounded by it everywhere. But
right. Yeah. Speaking of speculations, you know, you live in the neighborhood, which means there was somebody that, you know, did this. Do you speculate without naming names? We don't want to name any names or anything or identify people on our channel, but do you ever speculate about who could have possibly done this?
I mean, for sure, but no one fits the bill. Honestly, when I think about all my neighbors, I'm just like, no way. Like everyone, I think, even like
no one,
you know, might kill them at the slightest inconvenience. It's just completely irrational and ridiculous. Like when I think about any like individual personally, like any personal like neighbor, like anyone in this area, I'm just like, there's no way. Like they're all like pretty normal people. They all got their own shit going on. To think of them doing this is just absurd. But
so with that being said, what none of your neighbors fit the bill.
What? They have their own thing going on?
Yeah.
We have our own thing going on?
I don't understand it.
And she doesn't, and the reporter just is like, okay, so, wait, you accepted the answer? They have their own thing going on? That's acceptable? No follow-up on that, ma'am?
Sammy, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the odds that you would have, if you were interviewing him in this situation, what are the odds you would have asked him straight up at one point, did you do this? Because you seem like you did it.
I don't know. No, I probably
wouldn't have either.
I would have went the route of, can you tell me what's the thing that they do or do not have going? I would have trolled the responses. I'm very clued into language, and I often in my videos, what I am very good at, which made me a really good paralegal, is I'm very good at parsing through statements and contradictory things. And it makes me a good welfare fraud investigator too, by the way. So I pick up on things that are contradictory often, and I'm very good at picking up responses that I believe deserve more digging into. Like if you give me some generalized BS, like they, you know, like what are you saying? Like, yeah, that deserves to be picked up on. How are you not getting that?
Right. I agree.
What type of person do you think this might have been?
What
it was?
I'm looking into I don't know if it's true, but I was looking into a report that said it was like almost a blunt, heavy object, and a really strong person did it. I'm kind of imagining like maybe like a hunter dude, like some like super mentally ill dude who's maybe experienced with hunting, who has like some type of like farm blunt stabbing object, and just like really waited patiently until everything was really quiet. Like maybe he knew about this weekend was being quiet and then went in there and did it. But I don't know. It's like,
stop. This wasn't a quiet weekend. This was a actual eventful weekend. There was a football game. That's why they were taking the pictures. it was some sort of homecoming thing, correct? That Ethan escorted his sister to, apparently.
Right. Yep.
There was parties everywhere. This wasn't a quiet weekend. A quiet weekend is Thanksgiving weekend. A quiet weekend is go home for Christmas break, summertime. This is no quiet weekend. The fact he said, I picture a hunting dude. Did he say farm?
Yeah. He said farm.
So-
and he also had said that he was like, oh yeah, I heard they were stabbed. And I was like, maybe it was like a blunt object. But yeah,
He's thought about this way more than. And the craziest part about this is, think about this. He's verbalizing before anybody's caught, almost like a fantasy idea in his head about what could have happened, playing out these scenarios, giving details vague on others. And the police are going after a paper that Brian Koberger wrote
right.
for his thesis when he was graduating from college as a criminologist as guilt.
Right.
And this motherfucker is up here doing way more, in my opinion, to be suspect sounding.
Yeah. I agree. He is. That's why I was saying, like, it'd be, if maybe you don't ask him, did he do it? I'd be thinking it.
How is this less suspect? Or how is this not more suspect? And they're sitting here digging in Brian Koberger's papers from college. Honestly.
Yeah. I agree. Or his Reddit post. Let's look at this guy's Reddit posts.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Like nothing. Thinking about it's hard to think about it because I think the first thing I try to think about is a motive, and that's like it just draws me into a bunch of blanks.
Good luck finding one.
So
No kidding.
yeah, but I mean, there's like there's surrounding areas that have have a history of lead poisoning. So like
What?
We lost you for a bit, or at least on my end. If you want to try to, I'm going to try to refresh this and see.
Whoa. Is he giving like an RFK Jr. Let's clean the lakes speech?
I don't know. I don't even know
What's
what I just
that?
watched.
What? I'm ready for him to go into like the whole, we have chemtrails.
Yeah.
And that murdered them. I mean, which I'm in total agreement with about chemtrails, but we're talking about lead poisoning. Are we serious right now? Paint chips?
Yeah. And also, he doesn't come back on. That's the end of it. So she doesn't get him back.
Who does he know that's eating lead paint that became a murderer? I need to know right now.
This is something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm telling you, kids were not eating lead paint chips. It was a move by big communication.
I know.
So
I know it's the factory chemical thing, yeah. And they wanted to take the lead out of the paint because they wanted to reward an industry versus the other.
Well, I was gonna say because you couldn't have wireless communication because what do you wear when you go get an X-ray? You wear a lead blanket, so nothing can pass through lead. So you can't have the walls of every house coated in lead. You'll never be able to get wireless technology through it. And then people are going to be like, I have lead paint in my house and I have service. Well, now you have a Wi-Fi router inside the walls. But before that, it wouldn't have worked. So you look at what the White House created some task force 2 years prior to the first ever cell phone being developed. And then you just look at the entire progress of that, and it lines up with the New York Times pushing an article that kids are eating lead paint chips. I'm not saying that there hasn't been kids that put lead paint in their mouth, but for a multi-billion-dollar industry to bloom, they would probably demonize it too, because everything's all about protecting the children, right?
Nancy Pelosi's favorite line. She loves to spout that line with her gremlin-looking face and her $1 million fridge and ice cream. Fucking everybody enjoying COVID. Look at this $40,000 Sub-Zero refrigerator and my gourmet ice cream. You fucking peasants. I also think too, like, not with the lead paint thing, but it is interesting that he goes to this like out of nowhere. Like, What?
It's interesting, but it's also not surprising. And so to recap that, and to recap what we've been doing again, is we've been going back and watching interviews. So people have been like, old news, we've seen this. I know. We're doing that by design because there's a lot of stuff in the last 2 years that's come out via the court documents with the timeline, with who is where, who said what. And we're going back and we're listening to people that spoke out shortly after. This was December 13th or 16th. And he's already talking about a white launcher with out-of-state plates, and it caught his eye. Out of all things, in a very unspecific interview, that caught his eye. And that's 16 or 17 days prior to Brian Cobber ever being arrested. Then you go back and you watch Steve Gonzalez's interview, and you listen to how he says, we need a DNA lineage company. Maybe it's a family member.
We need a reward.
Yeah, it's all of these things, guys, that's like, it just points to narrative planting and narrative seeding, which is why a lot of these interviews are coming off awkward. They don't make any sense. They're either coached, they're protected, or something bigger is going on. But I believe there's like parallel things that have happened.
I said that. And I mentioned you in one of my latest videos. I said, I don't think, and when people ask me, what do you think happened? I said, I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a culmination of a perfect storm of converging things that transpired and then after the fact had to be covered up. So those things, those criminal elements converged with the government elements in order for this to be happening. And I am interested in what's going to happen with that special prosecutor if he does get appointed and people start getting subpoenaed for that leaking thing. And I said, when that Dateline thing came out, I said, all right, there's a gag order. Who's saying this? What's happening right now?
Maybe they just don't give a shit and they'll take their chance in court because they're like, we have to do something to keep the trial by media alive. I don't
know. Bill Thompson looked awfully nervous adjusting in his seat when that happened.
Yes.
Like they went overtime in that closed hearing, which means some serious shit went down. And the way that the way Judge Hippler addressed the state and then gave that flyaway comment and said, "Oh yeah, and the defense we'll make sure you're not leaking anything either," basically. Like a throwaway comment tells me he knows. And judges, say what you want. You could think Hippler's corrupt. You could think he's in on it. I'm not 100% sold that he's, a wonderful judge in any regard. He did mostly financial complex crimes, white collar crimes. He wasn't a capital state murder judge ever. So it is out of his wheelhouse and a little bit strange. Nevertheless, judges are egotistical, a lot of them by nature. They didn't get there from being, does in the woods here. They have egos, and sitting up there is helpful to stroke that ego. And when you give an order, it doesn't matter what side you are, and more judges like prosecutors better than defense attorneys. It's just a fact. I'm telling you, judges hate having their orders not abided by. And him thinking that somebody in the state didn't abide by that order, which was one of the first lectures he gave when he took over this case, I think he's pissed. I think he's fucking pissed.
There was clear discernment changes today in the judges. He's very, not that he was stuttering all the time, but he was very like crystal clear today. He wasn't slow talking. He was very like, nope, this is matter of fact. I'm telling you guys how it is. At least the parts that I saw. Okay. Well, chat. If you missed any of this live stream, it's going to be on YouTube. Birdie Bombshells, Birdie. Same username, except there's an S on the end of the username.
You can call me Sammy F. Bomb.
Yeah,
Sammy.
Sorry. Shout out to and shout out to Sammy T Mafia. Every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, she's on the live. Other than that night, I am still always on at 7 p.m. Central. So I try to have a variety of guests. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into, again, if you guys have stuff that you want to email me, please, chat. Email me, birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. because where I stream from is a PC. And if you just tag me on TikTok, a lot of times downloading the videos and then screen recording, it just takes a lot of time. It's hassle and I can't zoom in and it's not as easy. So shout out to the chat. Shout out to the mods. Sammy T, Mafia.
Love you.
Yes, is awesome. And I'm so glad that we've been able to get on a regular cadence for these Thursday nights. Her username is at Sammy T Mafia, spelled exactly like how it sounds. Do you have a YouTube channel or do you post?
No, Nani. I had a show. It's called Quite Frankly, a podcast about Howard Stern. I did that for like about 4 or 5 years. I think 4.5 years, I'd say. So you can go look that up. So, my partner still does it with a rotation of hosts now. It's not nearly as good, but I got sick of the topic. So
I feel you on that. Well, I can tell you that this topic right here is about to have some wild shit to be talked about in the coming months. So I am curious to see what that will be. You guys rock. Thank you guys so much for the support, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Eliza K, thank you so much. Is a bedridden chronic illness girly. She looks forward to these so much. Well, we will pray for you for health and wellness. Everybody in the chat, send out good vibes to Eliza.
Yes, and guys, just some of the emails that I've gotten as far as just like people tuning into, like it's something that I'd really never expected to have people like reach out and say. And if you've done that, I've tried to get back to everybody, and thank you. Like, I'm glad that people find like-minded people, not just amongst myself and who I have on as guests, but the chat has truly become a community. And so to that, again, I didn't get out any of these. So to Sammy T Mafia in the chat, you guys get the collective top dog tonight. I was stoked I got to use my trombone and this world's smallest violin. I didn't get to use the clown horn. Probably could have. But with that being said, this live will be uploaded on YouTube tomorrow by noon Central, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. Sammy, you rock. Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Yep, sleep good, everybody. Cheers.